We'll be getting some, well, we'll see how the beef goes, and we'll let you guys know. Probably when I do the lesson, I'll have tasted some, but you got a treat. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah. It is Sharif the Professor, especially of those small caps. We wish Joe all the best in his recovery. Surgery went well. So we'll be back at 2 o'clock.
Yes.
But for now, it's the midday time, boys.
Ciao.
Girls.
Boom.
Boom! Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. That is your boy Obi. Yes, he is the one, Kenobi, and I'm Sharif. And we're going to wait for everyone to come on over from the other stream because, well, not that many people have come on over yet. Now they're coming. We got the Yorev, Brown Lightning, Robert Lewis, and shout out to Yummy Thai Foods. I don't text. I text. Shout out to Jacques. We got Juan Padilla, the real Gary F. and Philosopher. Shout out to Ichiro. Friday. Yes, sir, it is. Lemon Family. Happy Coder. And KC526. T, what's up? We got Jay Bronson. We got Nabil. We got Pitchbull. How about Trader604 and Buzzy? And then let me see if I can read this Mandarin move too quick for me, and I don't know those letters. Andrew Chow, we got Ozium, we got Derek Thompson, we got Buffalo Soldier. Shout out to Peter, is Trader Forever, and Rusty Shackle. Davey, B911, and we got Walt Country Club. I aspire to have a country club membership one day. Tony Alton, we got Brody, we got Melinda, JL82, and we got Dean Allen. Shout out to Douglas, shout out to Brent. One gold tooth. Okay, I can visualize that. We got Marks, we got Ahola. Who else, man? Melinda, William. If you haven't thrown your name in, throw it. It's Friday. We got, who else, man? We got Mr. Janky Stock and Princess J. Michael Moss. Good morning to everybody, and good morning to you, Obi.
Good morning, good morning. How's everyone doing?
I can't complain myself. How about yourself, brother?
Not too bad, not too bad.
You feeling all sorts of Friday, or are you feeling a little Thursday?
I don't know. I'm
feeling midweek?
Yeah, it's just another day. You know, it's just another day.
Okay.
Little disappointed that Monday's off, but you know, it is what it is. A little bit
You're one of those guys,
time off. Yeah.
You got when the market's closed.
I mean, the market's hot right now, man.
The market's hot.
The market's hot.
The market's very.
Man's not hot, but market's definitely very, very hot today.
All right, Ob, let's cut the crap.
This month, yes.
Let's cut the crap. Okay, here we go.
All right,
Here we go. Look at this monstrosity.
Yep.
Manifesting before our eyes. VERO is him, her, and every other type of person out there. Here we go. This is as clean as it freaking gets on VERO. And we are on the precipice of quadruple digits. Now, we have seen a quadruple digit winner last year. Obviously, we haven't seen one this year. 1194 high on VERO. Look at the respect here for the trend. The stair step up. We make a big break, big move up. A couple of candles pull back. We rocket up again. Nothing was as big as this rocket ship, though, on volume, mind you. About 3 million shares on the current candle. Prior candle has about 2.3. 1194 high, as I mentioned, but 11 giving it up quickly. Down into 1075 we go. Here are my levels. Right away, I'm looking at 850 for now. And the reason is the 10 EMA on the 5. Also, current bar low, 950, 948 technically. Prior bar low, 864. So those are the levels off which I'm going to be looking, but you know how I'm going to trade. I'm not going to be punching in on VERO at these levels. And this is not VERU, by the way. This is VRO. They're different. And so make sure you've got that one straight. So VERO, the #1 gapper in the market, and is not even close. JFBR is a distant second, up 172%. But this one right back into 1150 we go. Now we're about 50 pennies off the high. I haven't even sat down and put this on a trading screen yet. I'm a little late today. So we're going to have to keep an eye out on this one. But I also want to take a quick look here on JFBR because that is the second leading gapper in the market. Not as parabolic, but a good chart nonetheless. Look at this clean hold off that 145, 150 area. This will be a buy zone for me, given what it did earlier. We have the implied balance high. Sorry, that's not even the implied balance high. That's the 735 high. Into 150, we drop, we lose $1 momentarily, we compress, higher lows, lower highs, and then the direction resolves in the way of the trend on volume. This candle has 8 million shares. So the breakout was supported certainly by volume. Now it is coming down into that 150, I want to say 145. That is going to be a buy zone for me here on JFBR. I don't mind setting up on this with a very clean out, very clean out. So if you stop out here, you're stopping out below the volume weighted average price. You don't want to get, caught lacking, for lack of a better term. Give yourself a couple of shekels below VWAP. You get in at that 150, give it to 135. Just size down so that you're still working within your risk parameters. So we've already got a couple of monsters here to start the show. JFBR, VERO, those are the ones I'm going to be focusing on. Oh, but I haven't had an opportunity to look at it anymore, so I'm going to send it to you while I get my charts ready.
Yeah, for sure, man. I gotta take a look at some of the stuff that is doing some great continuations on the day today, and I did participate in a few of these here. But let's quickly just take a look at Nvidia here. I got to take all of these indicators. The market is selling off pretty aggressively. I was looking for a bit of a bounce. Hasn't really come in. Got a little bit of a bounce, but has not even come into VWAP just yet. But there are a few names that are still selling off, man. I got involved with a little bit of Intel over here, just below this 49, covered into this area right here. I'll pull up my charts in a second. They're doing something wonky. I was telling Sharif, like every time somebody logs on and logs off of this PC, I don't know what it is about this one. All the windows get rearranged all over the place. So I'm just like, okay, you know what? It is what it is. Just got to move stuff around, do some housekeeping there. But yeah, this structure break after structure break. Intel is absolutely amazing today to the downside, rejecting that 50 once again today. It came in real hot and heavy in the first 5 to 10 minutes right there. Came in, clipped that 50-21. We're trading at 47s right now. So it's giving us the same move from yesterday. But guess what I was doing?
What?
Off the open. It's too busy with this ASTS because that was bouncing up really nicely. Pre-market highs as well as all-time highs. 110s took us all the way to 120s. I only got involved till this push into 113s and then left it alone because I was like, okay, that's probably done for now. Nope. Comes back down into VWAP. VWAP reload was the re-engage that I missed on this one here today. And that, Sharif, gave us 110s all the way to 120s. So straight beeline through the highs. No real consolidation for too long. Just straight green bar after green bar. This is the 1 minute chart. So you can see here doing decent amount of relative volume, 3 times the all-time highs here. It's taken a little bit of a pullback after false breaking that 120. So that, another miss on my part. So I missed 2 really, really good trades here. The VWAP reload, this opening session high breakout right here at 113. The 120, sure, I didn't take anything into there, but when it comes in and false breaks that 120, I do have to look to get involved. Some high volume candles pushing in right here, some of the highest on the day, into that high day break into 120, and then it fails to follow through. Guess what? There's definitely a little bit of bags on the in the flow, yeah, that are being held, and you can see it balances out beautifully back down into VWAP. Right now, we're just kind of consolidating, orbiting in and around VWAP. Another one, I know you were already looking at this, but guess what? I was looking at it too, Sharif.
Oh, what a looker.
VERO.
What a looker.
Just veering to the upside. 1191 highs. Just stepping up. The initial push was great. Thought it was over at 740s. But no, hold $7, hold 650s really well, steps up to $7, then holds $7, steps up again, holds a little bit of the 8 with a bit of chop, and then now we've gone pretty much parabolic into $12. So pretty crazy, and I heard whispers that the borrows on VERO were something crazy. VERO.
Yeah, because remember.
No, VERO is a different one. Yeah, exactly. You're right.
Yeah.
VERO. Yeah. Venus concept.
Were they? I'm assuming they were very pricey. Do you want to give us a little bit of insight?
I think the last I heard they were $30 a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nothing too crazy, but I don't know if they've gone up.
That was like $2 a share or something like that.
HKD.
Yeah.
HKD was one of them. Something was $200 a lot.
No, this was like $1 something a share. Remember Wayne was looking at it and was breaking out in the morning. This was like a few weeks ago, a month ago max. Anyway, whatever.
I don't know. Yeah, it's not coming to my.
All right, guys. I've set up the side charts over here, so let's get right down to work. So we already talked about JFBR and VERO. they're the big boys on the day. JFBR is the one that I'm looking for right now because it's coming back into a more reasonable level. I'm just waiting for this downtrend line here to you basically break. Here, we already got the first 5-minute candle to make a new high. I'm looking for that clearing of 165, 170. To me, that will mean it has changed its tune. JFBR, keeping an eye on that 196 high, we could see too. VERO still doing its thing. What I'm looking at though, JAGX, JAGX, beautiful, 50.5% on the day, not nearly as parabolic as JFBR or VERO, but an upward channel and a predictable one nonetheless. I would trade this as an upward channel until it shows you, if it shows you, it's ready to break out. So what does that mean? Trading as an upward channel, you're getting long on the low end of the channel here where that trend line is, and then you're wetting the beak on the top. And you're always, well, you're not always, but I would save a piece for the dream to take out that pre-market high, which sits around 129. JAGX, the one I'm talking about. I do believe it is time to punch in here to JFBR. We're going to give this one the old community college try. Anything below the volume weighted average price does end the trade for me, okay? So we're setting up. And I will look to defend that $0.50, but first and foremost, let's see if this one can kind of clear that 170 area. So that's what I'm looking at there. And then let's go back and talk about some more. IRE, not the parabolic name like some of the other ones we're looking at today, but predictable nonetheless, a little bit more expensive at 12.25, 1255 high, looks to have support. Buy zone, I would say, between 1210 and 1225. 10 EMA on the 5, 1210. Area high, crest, 1225. That's why I say a buy zone. IRE is the ticker. I'm also looking at LUNR. This one looks super clean and with good relative volume on the day. It really started doing something at around 9:30. It wasn't immediately apparent whether this was going to be strong, but it's already shown its hand. A clean hold of the 10 EMA on the 5, and then the rocket ship literally takes off to the moon over here. Well, not literally, of course, figuratively. $21.99 high, essentially $22. Getting a little extended away, though, from some moving averages, of course. I'm talking about that green line, the 10 EMA on the 5, which shows 21.25, 21.33. I also happen to like that 2090 to 21 level. Reason being, 2080 to 21. Buy zone here. Why? Look at all these candle rejections at 2080. Couldn't shake the seller there. Then all hell broke loose on volume, mind you, about 360,000 shares, and that's good for this stock. And then it really does break out there. So a buy zone could be between 21 to 2080, given that the psychological support will be at the whole dollar, but the price action support at 2080. That's the way I perceive that. But VERO is not giving up the ghost. Now, I do anticipate that this one will consolidate for a little bit before and if we get another rocket ship to the high side. This could see 15. It had a good aftermarket yesterday. Take a look at what it was doing at 4:30. It did break out quite nicely, and all was said and done, this hot garbage was up 90% in a matter of minutes. 4:30 to 5 o'clock, it had moved up 90%. So we are calculating that 650 from the closing print yesterday, which is at 4. So that 650% that we're up on the day on VERO takes into account the aftermarket move that we had yesterday, okay? Just want to make that clear so that we know our A's from our B's. We're gonna have to pause for a second. We're going to the big desk. We have breaking news with Adara.
As we had a slew of kind of more cautious or hawkish Fed comments for the last few days, we get very dovish comments from Fed's Bowman, who's saying that, quote, given risks, Fed should not signal a pause in the rate cutting campaign, and saying further that the risk to the Fed's mandates is asymmetric, with the jobs risk outweighing inflation concerns. We know we had some Fed speakers, again, as I mentioned here, over the past few days, including Kashkari and I believe Bostic as well, who communicated that they were more concerned about inflation right now than the jobs risk, or that they thought at this point the labor market risks were not that significant. So interesting note there. Bowman coming out incredibly dovish. Back to you.
Great, thank you very much, Adara. So yeah, I wanted to look at Intel, man. Intel here, this is what I was talking about. So this is how I got involved earlier, and man, has it really started to break down. The market has caught a bit of a bounce. That's what I was looking for earlier, but Intel, no sign of it breaking back below this 47 right now. TCOM is up here from a couple of days ago. That $62 level, finally broke down. I don't know when, but we're coming back right up into it. 61.80s on the ask. Let me know what you guys are trading as well. I want to take a look, but this market straight to the downside, and it's been absolutely beautiful. I want to continue to take a look at ASTS to see if it'll continue to give me some opportunities. So this is basically what I did. There are my entries. I have some of my stuff set up now, where you can see here I left a lot on the table. It never, my average was 109s here, Sharif. 109s and some change, and then eventually 110s and some change. Sure, it comes down into 110s, but would I have taken a break even? Maybe, probably not. Definitely reasons to sell up here into the 113s, but again, a big miss, not reloading here when that VWAP hold comes in. The only other time it comes into VWAP is here, and sure, it gives us a bit of a bounce from 115s to 117s, but now we're on the back side of the move as it makes lower highs and lower lows right now. Let's take a quick look at what stocks are doing some volume. The volume gainers right here as I pull that in. Of course, top of the list is VERO. Makes sense. IBRX, didn't really take a look at that one today. IBRX kind of a sideways chop here. ONDS, wow, same supply as yesterday, but guess what? Today we're doing even more relative volume, 2.5 times. So a bit of a miss on my part once again. These smaller caps, I guess this is not even a small cap. I have here 5 billion, Sharif, so I don't know if that counts as a small cap.
No.
But much less giving us the move similar to that of yesterday. Supply coming in and around $14. Today, we broke below prior day low, and look at how clean that flush is coming in off of the prior day low break at 1280s. NVIDIA as well. NVIDIA is number 4. Not really bouncing as well as the market. Hasn't even been able to get back to VWAP here, but 190, you can see here, we couldn't get through there yesterday. Bit of a chop zone, end of day, some sell imbalance. I did try to take a shot at the sell imbalance there yesterday, but some supply coming in just in the 189s. Intel again, number 5 on the list. We already took a look at that one. LCFY. I don't know if you're taking a look at this one, Sharif, but this is definitely a small cap, almost 9 million total market cap right here. So high of day comes in the pre-market, clips that 4 a.m. high, and since then we've been doing absolutely nothing, bleeding to the downside. SMCI looks a little bit better with its strength coming in at 8th place here in the volume leaders on the market. Bit of a held offer, it seems like, at the 32 level. Let's see if this VWAP reclaim and hold can give us that high a day, especially with the market taking a bit of a turn here right now. Big Bear AI, double bottom, $6 hold, looking nice, coming in through the high a day right now. So there's a lot of opportunity in this market, Sharif. And like I said, it's really, really hot right now. The opportunities off of the open are crazy. You saw how ASTS did. You see how VERO did, right? There's a lot of stuff going on. And even in the pre-market session, it seems like the small cap season is definitely here. A lot of the small caps do like really clean moves in the pre-market.
They do, man.
Yeah.
They pre and after because of volatility halt. Yeah. But I got to tell you, I'm increasingly seeing continuation during the midday. We just took $1.50 there quick as you like on VERO. Not a bad look. Initial entry 1143, added nicely 1075 for the bounce back up, and their best beak wetter 12.25 there. So good look on VERO. The monster's continuing to go. JFBR, a different look there, but we'll get to that one in a second because that does seem like a false breakout. I'll explain my position there in one sec, but here we go, man. Unreal. The strength is on now on VERO. It's a 1293 high. We are having some trouble holding above 12, but we're above it right now. Let's keep an eye out on this one. Let's see where the buyers are stepping in. Down we go here in 11.5, 11 2/3. Buyer steps in at the 2/3. Trying to identify key areas where I know the buyers are stepping in so that I can weasel in myself. So what I'm doing right now on my top screen is I'm switching to the 5-second chart. And the reason I do the 5-second chart, again, I've articulated this before, but if you're newer, just allow me a sec to explain. Sometimes when there is a local buyer, it's not readily apparent that there's a local buyer on a wider time frame, the 1, the 3, the 5. but on a shorter time frame. Some people use the 15, some people use the 10. I just want to use as small as my program will let me, which is the 2, which is the 5, excuse me, 5-second chart, meaning that every candle is 5 seconds. Okay, so what I'm doing there is I'm looking for essentially what the book shows me, but the book is super transient. You know, it'll show you something, then it'll move on to another price level. The chart, not so much. So if there's a buyer at 1180 over and over and over, I can see that on the level too. But once we get away from that level, I won't see that, but I will see it on the chart. Hence why I use the kind of the chart almost as bookmap. If you've been trading for a while, you know bookmap is popular with some intraday traders, and this is kind of, I don't want to say a bookmap equivalent. It's not an equivalent, but I try to use it as such. So what I'm keeping my eye on now, certainly higher lows. And here comes 12 again. Are we going to have trouble with 12? We've got a good looking bottoming tail candle right now on the 5, and we're working our way up. So I'm thinking about getting back in here. Let's see if we can dip down back into that 12-ish area, maybe single digits, low teens, and then hold up. So keeping an eye here, you got to be super quick with the keys, dropping back down into the mid-teens. We're going to get in a little bit here. What did we get? We got 17s. Let's see if we can kind of continue a little bit up into the 30s, let's say, you know, mid-20s. I'll give this to 1175 just because I got into a smaller position, and I want to see if it resolves above 12. There's a general buyer in the 12 low digits. It does look like it will lose 12 right now, so I'm going to go ahead and throw in my stop for that. Let's see what we can get on this one. Otherwise, I'll add into the position. So watching closely here to see where the buyers are stepping in. We got a lower high at 12 and a quarter, okay? We got a lower high relative to the 1293 high that we had. Okay, what I'm looking at is the 5-second chart again. So that's what I'm seeing right now. Let's see if we can get that buyer stepping in at 12. Yeah, 12 is a hard level to clear for the moment. So continuing to watch over here. Here we go, right back above 12 we go. So back break even, no prints though. No new prints, no new prints. Let's see, let's post over here. There we go. Now we're gonna put a little bit above the $0.50. Let's see if we get that continuation. Oh, there seems to be a seller at 20. The prior seller was at 25. So that 20 area is almost the same area that same seller was selling at. But we are putting in higher lows. Oh no, we're breaking down now. It looks like we're gonna lose the level over here, Obe. So keeping an eye. Let's see if we get back into that 12. Yeah, still having trouble though clearing that 12 level decisively. So you can kind of feel that 12 and a quarter seller, he's still dominating. Yeah, gonna have to flatten out here. So we'll take a little bit of a loss on that last trade, and then we'll look to get back in if it sets up. I think I might give it a bit more room, maybe 11.5, but I don't want to be catching a falling knife either, but knowing full well that this one can turn up in a second. What are you looking at, brother?
Yeah, I'm just pulling up the chat here, and so we can see what you guys are watching and you guys are looking at. Let me know in the chat, what have you been trading? What has been your best opportunity of the day? So that's what I would like to know here. I guess the sound is all messed up here too now, but yeah, now I got the chat up here. Let's see, what are you guys saying here? CRWV, CoreWeave. Okay, let's take a quick look at CoreWeave and see what that one is up to here. So I'll duplicate this and CRWV. So that one's been a good one every now and then. Let's see what it's doing today. Lately. Yeah, breaking through high today. So congratulations on that. If you were looking for that range break, the intraday range break, that's coming in. Prior day highs as well. Comes in and clips it for the first time. False breaks, potentially pulling in some short participants, no doubt. But makes a higher low here, Sharif, and then makes the break through 100 breakout on CoreWeave happening as of right now. Jeep Limited, thank you for the super chat. For the Obster, nice. Oh, wow. Thoughts on AMPX? I'll give you my thoughts on AMPX right after we get back from Adara.
Be able to give the thoughts right away, Obi. I just want to let everybody know that this roundtable on rural health has just concluded, notably without any questions. Trump did not take any questions at this event. They just turned up the music to a very, very loud degree and told everybody to leave. So again, guys, this event is done, just over an hour long. Nothing really market moving other than the mentions of those health insurance companies once again. We'll have to wait and see if we do get a meeting with Trump and the health insurance companies, which he teased out last year. Let's hear from Obi, though, with that super chat.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dara. AMPX, Amperis Technologies, Inc. Okay, I see what you're looking at. I like it.
Oh, babe.
Flagging to the upside. right here, making some fresh highs, prior day high as well. Let's take a quick look on the daily. Let's get rid of that VWAP. We don't need that over here when we're looking at the daily chart.
Got it, Ob.
I like to look at moving averages a little bit more when we're looking at the daily chart. Shrink with the ad-libs, love it. $8 hold right here coming in after a pull-up into $16. That was in October. Okay, so October we made that high, been bleeding out from there. Maybe this is that second leg here, $8 hold, holding some of this prior structure. This is where this bid came in, increasing volume, where we did break out of this prior structure high going into 950s and holding and sustaining in and around $10. We broke below $10, $8 came in, bit of a low volume trend down. You can see here the candles are very, very muted after some strong range. Like look at the ADR, the average daily range on some of these daily candles. When we're above $10, we get below $10, we get so muted. Look at how tiny. Most of these are dojis. We come step back in. Guess what, Sharif?
What?
We come in and break 10. Look at the ADR now. Interesting stuff. Increasing range on the daily. So it seems like maybe more participants being drawn to this name above $10. That's what this most recent action is showing me. Let's take a quick look at the relative volume that we've been having as well here. Is there anything of significance, anything that stands out? Yeah, take a look at this. On the day, we're about to re-break through that $10. In the pre-market, almost as if somebody knows, relative volume, the highest relative volume spike, and then intraday we break through that $10 and we gain that bit of an ADR increase once again. So today, low a day is coming in at $10, high a day at 11.06 here. So I like it. It seems like it's stepping up. Recent daily trend since the beginning of the year is straight to the upside, so higher highs and higher lows. But you got to remember, we're coming back into some of these prior levels. So what I would do, I would just mark off what I think are specific or significant support and resistance levels. There's one right here where you had this 3 days, it just couldn't get past this 1250, and then we broke down. So it's just like events. Any sort of indicators, just like how, if you guys are familiar with using anchored VWAP, you anchor it to events. That's my same perspective on any sort of indicator, right? Especially like support and resistance. It's just like, okay, are these events? Now, events don't have to be correlated with news. They can be events of price action, and volume as well. You see that volume increases right here. You have a strong spike. I don't know if you guys can see this, but right here, strong spike in volume intraday. We push up into that 1250, get slammed back down the next day. So it's just like, yeah, maybe a little bit of event, triple top if you want to call it that, whatever fancy names you guys want to call some of these price action events. It's up to you, but we all look at the similar charts here. So next one. Right here is $16. That's the high of that range as well. So yeah, let's see if this continues. We have some of this to get past, and then maybe we can get up to this 1250. That 1250 is going to be interesting. 3 whole days, it could not get through it, even through that high volume push that happened on December 5th. So AMPX, good look. I like it. I like it too. But I like the chart. I don't know if I'm going to trade it, but stepping up higher on the higher time frame for sure.
Respect that, Ob.
All right, guys, what's it called? VEROs and a pullback. I was able to get a couple of good trades, even though it was pulling back, but let's see if it holds up at 10. 10 EMA on the 5 is 1032, and then obviously 10 is 10. So I got in here 11.25, and we scalped up to 12. So it was a decent little trade, and I didn't lose anything on that last trade, but I did, full disclosure, give back a little bit on the stop out. So we're 2 for 3 on this specific name. And then we're doing it freaking live here on JFBR. Yes. This one broke trend, and you sniff out these trend breaks once, you know, that very, very clear lower high, lower high, lower high just gives way. Talking about JFBR, and this was kind of the breakdown after that 196 high. And so once this trend line started showing that it was starting to give way, I got back in. I added a little bit here in the high 50s to get a better cost basis. I've wet the beak a couple of times into the 70s, sorry, at 70 and the high 60s. But really nothing doing here above 70s, having a whole bunch of trouble taking out 70 pennies. So we're gonna have to pack the patience here. Now, mind you, I will be patient with this one so long as I continue to see the higher low, higher high pattern after this, latest trend break, which was a downtrend. So that's what I'm going to continue to watch here on JFBR. I've got 64s on at the moment, but we did add nicely over here, looking for this one to hold up. I'm by no means turning the page on VERO. I just want to see, we're in a 3-candle red pullback at the moment on this name, coming in a lot closer to the 10 EMA. So if you're looking for this to reset, we could get that reset sooner rather than later. But look at JAGX. Oh my goodness. I was telling you guys that this one was a range trade until it wasn't. Remember, save a piece for the dream for that breakout of the upper trend line, and you got it, and you got it in spades. Look at that clean break through 127 or 125 or wherever the hell it was, and a move, obviously squeezing out a lot of shorts into 144, coming back a little bit down now into 135. This thing was up into high 80s. Now it's showing me 80%. So JAGX has to be on your radar right now if you are trading in the world of small cap gappers. This is a good looking name because also it's not as fast moving as a VERO. And VERO is not everybody's cup of tea, right? Even if you're a small cap trader, a lot of people don't like that kind of insane movements where it's moving dollars at a time. Just can't stomach it. And more respectful of that, I could not be. And for those people, there are these kind of ones where you're going to have to be a little bit more patient, but you're seeing a trend. Nonetheless, it's discernible. It's a very clear upward channel. Upward channels don't happen by accident. They're happening because the buyers are overwhelming sellers. And that's really, very, very clear on every little drop there. So JAGX in focus, IRE. Somebody in the chat just mentioned to me, Sharif, why are you not looking at IRE? I got IRE right here, my friend. 1280 high, zigging and zagging right now with 70 pennies. It's up it's up 19.8%. So on the precipice of taking that 20%. So we're going to keep an eye certainly on this one. But JAGX is all the rave right now, man, because it's like a penny off the highs and about to hit triple digits. So this could be the 3rd triple digit small cap gapper on the day. And God knows, we saw plenty yesterday. So let's not discount any of the other ones just because they're not 100% or more. Doesn't mean they're not tradable. Continuing to watch VERO here. Clean bounce off that 10 EMA. So this looks good, right? But you're still not, you still haven't decidedly broken trend, right? The trend is still to the downside. You need to either make the first 5-minute candle to make a new high, or you got to break and hold above the trend line. So VERO looks like, the profit takers and or, the sellers are in control at the moment, but who knows if that subsists. Commodity King saying IoT. All right, let's take a look at IoT, Internet of Things. Samsara. You know what samsara means in Arabic?
What does it mean? It does sound like an Arabic word.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
I think it either means like a person who sells like what would you call like pistachios and cashews and almonds?
Nuts.
No, but not just nuts, but like a
here.
group. You know what I'm talking about?
There you go. A broker or a middleman.
Oh, really?
Is a samsara or a simsar.
Okay, so I completely had that wrong.
Yeah. A broker.
Okay, so I'm not as good as I thought. No, I thought it was something else.
For example, Robinhood is a samsara.
Oh, okay. I like that.
There you go.
I like that. You learned something new
Weeble
today, baby.
is a samsara.
But yeah, IoT doesn't look too bad. But let's put up IoT here on the old black chart. Give me a second over here. Is simsar in Arabic? What is simsar? I don't know actually, Ozan.
That's what he said. Just simsar. It was a singular or something.
What do you
the
want?
broker, the middleman.
What's
Legumes. Is that that's what you're looking for?
No, but that's not
legumes.
what I didn't mean that. But yeah,
that green tea.
Yes, Drew Farrell. I do know about the EV deal with Prime Minister Carney and President Xi. I was talking to Brendo about it today. I gotta tell you, I'm excited. Okay? I'm excited. So we're going to get to that on the news. Obviously, we're going to be talking more about that. But for the moment, we got to go to Adara because she's got news at the big desk.
Quick crypto segment here. Let's talk about BTC. This nice look on the daily chart. Now let's see if we can actually hold this prior resistance that we broke out of earlier this week, that 94.7 level. And let's see if we can hold that as support. In the meantime, I do want to talk about a crypto-related story coming out of Europe. Belgium getting its first ever bank that enables Bitcoin and Ether trading. So KBC Bank, now the first Belgian bank to allow for the trading of Bitcoin and Ether in Belgium. So interesting look there. Let's take a look at the weekly as well. As I mentioned here, we have obviously quite the move for BTC this week. As you can see in the weekly chart, nice push to the upside. Right now, poised to close just over 4%. The upside on the week for BTC, though, of course, Bitcoin will continue to trade until Sunday as well, so its week is a little bit longer than the traditional 5-day trading week. That being said, once again here on the weekly, we can see what was also clear in the daily chart, this level of resistance that we've broken out of, that 94 halves, more or less. Again, let's see if this holds as support, and let's see if we close above it or below it on the week come Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Dara. Yeah, I'm looking for the next trade, man, but honestly, I don't really see too much. Microsoft is breaking out of its highs right now. Wow, look at that. Muscle memory, I type straight MSTR because I got that in the back of my mind. There's a rogue monitor in here that, I don't know.
I gotta tell you, sorry, did they tell you about these ones?
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes, sorry. So
Oh,
if you
no
drag
way.
past, it's gonna be
Okay,
there.
I'm just
So
like,
if you
there's
need to bring
stuff.
It, there it is. Bring it. Now you can bring it in. So this is the display
No,
monitor.
that's a duplicate.
Yes, that's a duplicate, and the one next to it is the rogue one. So
Okay,
this one
I
is my
see what you
duplicate,
mean.
that's the
I'm
rogue
like,
one, yeah.
I'm like, dude, there's stuff on
Yes,
that's like missing. Okay, I see it now.
Yes,
I see
yes.
it.
I should have
that's
told you that. My bad.
That makes a lot of sense. Kind of, but all right. So let's see what is next.
Get it over.
Intel, yeah, no, it's just I don't know. Anyways, market has reverted about 50% of its down leg as of right now. People still talking about CoreWeave, CRWV. What was the one? No, CoreWeave is going, man. 100 breakout brings us to 102s. Look at this thing go, man. What a momentous day for CoreWeave. 100 breakout. You know what I like to do with these?
What do you do?
I know just what to do with you.
You need a mean reversion animation. We need one.
You've seen Harry Potter, right?
I have not.
Okay.
I don't watch Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings.
Oh, come
all
on,
that kind
man!
of stuff.
You're not into that the fantasy, sci-fi. No. What's your genre of movie?
Action and sports.
Action and sports. I love action too. I actually watched The Accountant.
Okay.
Last
I haven't
night.
seen that.
Great movie.
Yeah?
Great movie. I like it. If you like action, it's going to be good. The Accountant is a great movie.
Who's in that?
But I don't know any of the actors. Oh, except for what's her name? Anna something. Anna Kendrick?
Anna Kendrick.
Who?
I like Anna Kendrick.
No,
She's
Rumi-
hilarious. She's so small.
I think it is her. I think it is her. But yeah, no.
Ben Affleck, everyone's saying. Ben Affleck.
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 That reminds me of that ad.
Of course it does. Who does
I don't know if they still do that ad. Do they still do the
Affleck?
Affleck ad?
Yeah, I think it's around on football.
Maybe.
Ask Neil, because Neil watches a lot of football. Do they still have the Affleck commercials during football? He doesn't know. All right.
Does The Accountant have a sequel?
I have no idea. All right, let me cover something. Because your boy just got into JAGX, okay? Reason is I got into JAGX, big pullback. I got in at 135. I didn't mean for this one to be lower bottom wick. My plan was to retest the breakout level, right? And the breakout level to me was a break above my trend line, okay? So what I said was, look, Sharif, you're getting in at 133 and you're averaging into about 128, and then if it loses that, it's all over. So we got a couple of great beak wetters right now going on JAGX, but it's coming back down into my area, so this could be a reload area, but there goes JFBR into the high there at 174. We just 73, excuse me. We wet the beak. We're waiting at 77s now. Let me adjust that, excuse me. So JFBR is putting in that rounding shape. You know, whether or not we clear 180, where we clearly had a lot of resistance earlier, your guess is as good as mine. If 180 clears, then we're looking at 196 as the high of the day, and then we'll see if that one wants to hold up. But JFBR trading me nicely for now. Underline that for now. We still have many different I don't want to keep using these gun references. Many bullets left in the clip or whatever. Huh? The Joey Ops loves that.
I like that. I use that all the time. Like you need to save some rounds in the clip.
Bang.
Right. And sometimes how I like to use that as well is just like sometimes if I'm not doing too well and I'm coming in and I'm like, okay, stock selection has not been great as of recent. I only have 3 rounds. So I got to use them wisely.
I like that.
That's the rule.
Not a bad one.
Right? I have 3 rounds for the whole day.
So
if I'm taking shots, they better be headshots.
This guy's using, I like the gamer references, right?
I mean, I don't know if it's just a gamer reference.
Well, we're
real life
pretend it's
reference
only
as well.
a game reference right now, because we don't want to give the wrong idea. But completely agree with you there, buddy. All right,
you got to be STK at all times. Right. Otherwise, why do I want to take the opportunity?
Right.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Here comes, and there it goes. JAGX into that 148, 47, excuse me, got the beak wet at 46, looking for continuation into the $0.50 and above. Let's go ahead and post here on the X one at 49s, and there it goes into 50. That is a new high of day. I'm now posting at 55. There's 53, another high of day. This one is on its way, and there it is, 57. The breakout is on the X one right now, JAGX. We're posting at 65er next. No, we're not posting at 65. I'm sorry, Ozan, I won't do that again. We're posting at 69. And here comes 65. I should have taken it out at 65. I'm playing, of course. Let's see what this one does. The strength is on right now on JAGX. The breakout is big, and it is dangerous here for the shorts. They're caught off guard. It is a 67 high now. 69, there it goes. Now it's a 73 penny high. JAGX now up 115% and looking at ripping off faces here. Stand in front of this one at your own peril, baby. Very, very strong, very clean. 58.5, 59 million shares now printed on the day. For now, I've got top wick and bottom wick. This one feels good. Okay, this one feels good. Just for the reason of having top wick and bottom wick. That's, a trader's dream, so to speak. But it won't stay that way for long. I'm sure we'll make higher highs, and we'll keep an eye on that. JFBR coming back down into my entry. Question is, do I add here? Are we still holding trend, though, on JFBR? Am I seeing something distinctly different, to use a term from the man beside me here? I personally don't see one. I'm going to base my out on JFBR on area trough low, okay? I don't have too many, well, actually I do. I still have some shares here, which is a problem because I don't want to be DCAing with heavy shares. So I have to think this one through. Do I want to chart off the 5 and give it to trough low? In that case, it'll be south of 150 into 146. That's more than I'm willing to stomach, given how much I'm holding. The other look is I can chart off the 1 and give it to trough low on the 1, but we know what that means. More noise, more possibilities to get shaken out, even though it was a good trade. So JFBR, I'm going to need to do some thinking on this one for now, but out of the money by 4 pennies and not very happy about it. Keeping an eye on this one. We did de-risk. We are positive on it, but I'm not very happy that I didn't take out more at the top. All right, so that's the look there. Do I ever use Bollinger Bands? I did, brother. Shout out to Escape Planet. I did use Bollinger Bands. I just felt, that they're just telling me what I can see another way, right? And to be honest with you, I don't like indicator overload. Pretty simple with me when I'm intraday trading, right?
Yeah,
if you're swing trading, that's something completely different, and you want to do quant stuff in addition with TA, right? So you can say like a lot of people are using AI for this, and they're like, okay, if Bollinger Bands are touched, I don't know, I'm just giving you any random theory, 3 times in the last 5 minutes, what are the chances upper Bollinger Band is touched 3 times within the last 5 minutes? What are the chances of a reversal? A lot of people are doing this quantitative stuff with technical analysis to kind of get more of an edge, and I can completely respect that. Hard to do intraday, at least on the show. I save that kind of stuff for swing trading, but great question. Nice. Bollinger Bands are ones that I know about, but I seldomly use them.
Yeah, it's just an indication of just something that might be, you know, slightly overextended, or if you're using mean reversion or anything like that, Bollingers are something that definitely are, let's say, a guide rail, not really a guard rail, but a guide rail. Yeah, no, it's interesting there, and I definitely agree with you there, Sharif. Indicator overload is absolutely unnecessary, but you know, I've also seen videos with intraday traders that have, like, you can barely see the candles anymore. That's how many things they have on their intraday, and they're pretty profitable as well. Some of them extremely, but yeah, no, it's to each their own. I like to keep it simple. I like my charts mainly naked, nothing on them. Maybe a VWAP at most. If I see myself throwing on a moving average, then maybe sometimes I know I'm in trouble. If I start adding indicators mid-trade, that's a good indication of just you trying to, like, you know, grasp for what's the saying? Grasp at straws.
Yeah, grasping at straws. Yeah, like
so
you're
it's
trying
just
to
like,
fit trade within your own narrative.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, okay, well, you know. That's a little bit of, that could be a little bit of trouble there. But simply, if I'm like, okay, let's define a bit of a trend, what am I going to use? I might just throw on a moving average here, IONQ. Someone in the chat mentioned IONQ. I might throw on a trend line, right? Moving averages and trend lines are probably the things that I use the most. VWAP is a moving average, right? It's the volume weighted average price.
Right.
So it is a moving average line. So I almost forgot what the AP was for there. But Microsoft breaking out of its highs here. So MSFT, that's what we were trying to look at earlier. And I typed in MSTR. So 460 was the high a day there, breaking out 461.40. So these quick little scalps, man, these are coming in quite nice on the day as well. Let's take a look at some of the other mags. Apple was about to break, or looked like it was about to break some day lows there. Apple coming in with that slight consolidation, looking distinctly different from that of the market. What are these levels? I think I defined them just a few days ago. Hello, what's going on here? Okay, so maybe some significant levels from recent. Yeah, there it is. So right here, why did I define these levels? Because I was trying to play them on this day, I think, Friday. Yes, that makes sense. I was on last Friday, and I was just being like, okay, pre-market, opening range, or pre-market high, opening range high, and then this high here. And guess what, Sharif? We've been stuck in this range on Apple. Do I really need these? Maybe. This was that flush open on Thursday, so maybe a little significant, not as significant throughout the week, but it seems like it held as a bit of support. We broke below, we broke above. We've been chopping these levels all sorts of ways, so you definitely have to watch out for that. But the range, Sharif, is what I'm looking at here. So I just talked about maybe not populating the chart with too many indicators, and guess what? I'm about to do that right now. Where is the range? Range one right here. It should be with the fibs.
This is your move here, Ob. I don't
where's
know
the
if
move?
you've had an opportunity to look at VERO. This is all you right here, Ob. This is your
VERO. Yeah, man, I know. Neil messaged me earlier. He was telling me how much those shorts are worth. Seems like the shorts have definitely come in now. But the thing is, like, bigger picture, yes, this leg, because of that extension all the way up to, what is that, 12s, right?
Yes, sir.
So that extension to
13.
13.
Yeah.
That extension to 13, that leg is much larger, so I do expect the pullback to be somewhat symmetrical as well. Technically, it's still structuring higher highs and higher lows.
Yes.
So, yes, you can get in on that leg extension because you're just like, this could be exhaustion. But guess what? No sign of real exhaustion just yet. It could pull back. It could revert.
I see.
But some of the best reversions on this, I really want some sort of like exhaustive or capitulatory move to get involved. And that's usually followed in and around with a volume signature, with some
You're not really seeing that
like
right now.
really aggressive price action, right? And it's like when you see it on the tape, you just know it. You're just like, yep, that's exhaustion right there.
Interesting.
Right?
Very.
So something like that. And I wasn't there to see that wick up in the 1293. So
Yeah.
not really going to participate right now. I think that tape confluence definitely helps when you're watching for some of those exhaustive points, because the turn.
Right.
The turn. You see this, you see sellers, aggressive sellers, and then can't do any more of that. Boom, swipe. back to the upside. Same thing on the other side. Buyers, 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 buyers. So they swipe up. Maybe they're getting squeezed. It's the last of the buyers, and then there's no more buying. Boom, sellers step right back in.
Right
so it's
back
just
in,
like,
yeah.
so that's the kind of action that I really love for an A+.
Fair.
Setup for an exhaustion or a capitulation, both kind of the same thing if you flip them around. Yeah, I like that look on VERO for sure. I mean, if I was watching it, if I hadn't had some inventory, I might have participated. But for that, I got to be sitting there, got to be watching it, got to have fingers on the trigger to take shots at that thing.
No doubt, no doubt. What the hell is this? Lottery.com. Okay, here we go. All right, we're back into JAGX. Here we go. I'm posted at 77. It got to 77, didn't cross 76. Seller at their 77 again, not crossing, so I'm not getting the print on JAGX at 77. There's a seller there that we can't seem to shake, but I do like the chart pattern. This candle does have lower highs though. It's a 181 high that we still haven't cleared yet. Now the seller's coming in at 75, 76 again. Can we take a quick gander at that 77 seller? We can't even make it up there. I'm gonna wet the beak here. We're gonna remove the other order. Let's move it up a little bit into 80, 77, just got decimated, 79. Here we go, looking for 80. We're posted at 89, 70, there's 80, and there is the print. It's another high a day into 81 on JAGX. Let's go. We're looking for 88s now. Shout out to my boy CD. We're keeping an eye on this one. Double top at 81. Be careful though. Double top 81. Current bar low. Dang it, man. I don't understand this software. It drives me crazy. It doesn't show me when I mouse over. 168. Current bar low, 168. That's where my stop goes in for the last remaining amount. 168. Let's watch now. 77, 90, sorry, 80. 80 again. 82, 87. I'm posted at 88s. Let's go. 84 showing up again. So we're 1 penny off my exit here. 87 high. Continuing to watch. By the way, same thing. Prior bar low is 67. So we're leaving the, or 68. Leaving the order there. Back into the high to mid 70s we go, looking for continuation into the 80s. We've got an unbroken trend of higher lows. So if you're basing your exit off prior bar low on the 5, you are okay. And you haven't been stopped out. You haven't been stopped out, quite frankly, I don't know, since it looks like 11:15, right? Because I don't think we've had prior bar low breach. Mind you, some of the prior bar lows have been far below the main price action because of the breakouts were so parabolic. So keeping an eye on this one, looking for a move back into the 80s, but we're still holding a piece. We're looking for a little bit more here on JAGX. Separately, VERO, VERO, starting to look a little distinctly different, to take a word from the man over here. But I might have to flip back into JAGX because it's right back into my entry. But I'd like to, look for a trend change here on VERO. Now, I don't want to start seeing what I want to see. I need to see a decided move, a decided break above this trend line. This is what I'm talking about right here. As you can see, we're still putting in those lower highs. Even though this current candle looks good, I need to see a decided break of that, and then I'll get back in and we'll have possibly a couple more trades on VERO. Back to JAGX. So this is an ugly topping tail candle here, man. But so was the prior candle too, quite frankly. So what does that mean? Well, that means there's aggressive profit taking and or the short sellers are quite committed at these levels, because these topping tail candles on the 5 don't happen by accident, right? It means that people are looking to take profits, quite aggressively, or the shorts really are quite committed to their cause and are looking to take this one down again. We still haven't broken prior bar low, topping tail candle or not. Prior bar low still holding, mind you. Current bar low, as I mentioned, 68. Prior bar low, 60.5. So if you're basing your out on prior bar low, I'd be putting it at 59. Give it a little bit of breathing room there. So JAGX, 1 or 2 pennies in the money, but we took that nice breakout, 87 high. I'm posted at 88. It's got to take out the intraday high today for me to get printed. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. And then separately, of course, JFBR. I'm still keeping an eye on this, defending 150 quite well, but definitely seems like it's in consolidation mode here as opposed to any discernible trend. So that's what I'm looking at, Ope.
Yeah, I'm watching this Amazon here, man. This market looking like potentially turning back down as of right now. So yeah, breaking some structure here. You can see AMZN, let me just pull it up on this level 2 at the same time. Let's see if it can continue to break down. This 237.60s is where this prior structure is here. And yeah, if the market's going to pull back in, I do want to take a little bit of participation there. There it is. And see if we'll have some continuation. VWAP's all the way at 238. About 50 pennies away, roughly. Any sort of bounce up into there, I'm willing to get involved as well. You can see here that 238s before chop zone, we did sell off of the open. We attempted to get through. We attempted to get through a bunch of times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 times as well. Couldn't really get through. Seller step right back in. We take it to 236 halves, roughly 40s there. And then we slowly grind back up. That's Confluence with the market bounce as well. But guess what? Same thing with the market. The Nasdaq did a 50% retracement here of that down leg, roughly 50%. I'm just eyeballing it. The ES a little bit more. We're looking at the 15-minute charts here. So that's coming in here as well. Maybe some more sellers. And then we finally do get above that 238 after 11 o'clock. 11:30, we push up 238. 40s, 230s, that's the most we could do, and then sellers step right back in. So VWAP hold, Confluence with an intraday resistance level, and then now the market's turning as well. So that's 3 factors of Confluence for me. 3 strikes, boom. I definitely want to participate in a little bit of that and see if it works. Market is also turning. Prior bar low breaks here coming in on the 15 minutes at the same time. There goes Intel with some fresh lows, man. I thought it was over when it started to hold 48s. Over. It did not re-engage at the lower high that was made 48 halves, and then the break back down to 48s. That makes it even better. We're trading at 47s now, so definitely a big bit of a miss on my part. But where's the next trade? That's what I'm looking at. We'll let this one cook right here. At the same time, let's see if this is working. Wow. Man, this is pretty crazy how buggy this PC is. I might have to. I mean, I think I'm going to be on all of next week for Joe as well. He's
off all of next week.
He definitely he asked me for it. He's just like, yeah, I need some more time to recover. I was like, all right, yeah, man, you take all the time you need to recover, and I'll be more than good for that. But this PC is definitely going to need some fixing. I'm going to spend some time doing that today.
Get some of the tech guys to help you out, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm going to ask around for some help for sure.
You want to see your boy?
This is yeah. No, you showed that picture yesterday.
So
yep.
Look at his
He's locked in,
ass leg, bro.
to say the least.
Yeah, look at that swelling. Look at the swelling. Joey Ops, bro. My poor man over there, man. He's going to have to waddle around. We saw Neil do that.
I like that carpet table combo. Is nice.
Yeah, actually, he sent the picture earlier, and it was looking like, Selena definitely did all the decorating there. He didn't have a hand in that. I'm playing there. I love him. But yeah, Joey Ops doing it live. Where's that other picture he sent? There it is. Hold on. Look at this. Look at this. This is a clean setup, oh. I'm not going to hate on this setup. He's got the 75 there. He's got the nice little plant. Nice, neutral.
Oh, you know what? Okay, you know what's jokes? He sent me the same picture, but then I was on.
You were on.
Yeah.
Make you feel good.
Yeah.
I can't be sending
That's funny. That's
pictures of myself. What do you want, Ram? I can't hear you. But Ram, like seriously, I can't hear. I can hear you're talking, but I can't hear anything you're saying. Sorry, girl. Just boost up that volume a little bit, Ram. And
there's the bell.
Yeah. Shout out to Gorev. That's his boy, Joey Options. Yeah, he'll be back. He'll be good. He'll be good to go. We got to troll him a little bit, though. Oh, there she is. I said, look how rude she is, bro. She's got to start with capital letters. Tell him to learn how to take photos. Yeah, well, not everybody is production team level, Ramin, okay? We don't have professional trading on the cameras. Unreal. All right, JAGX is bleeding its own blood, but this could be an interesting area to come back. Just hold the phone straight. Ram, he's on medication right now. He's flying high. Leave him alone, right? So 150 coming in there for JAGX. That's also the buy zone that we talked about. Well, that's not the buy zone, excuse me. That's actually incorrect. The buy zone was 130 to 140, but the 10 EMA and 150 now are close to overlapping with the 10 EMA on the 5 at JAGX. I think 147, 146. The half dollar is being defended here, up 98%, 187 high. I had an order at 88, didn't work out, so we're going to keep an eye out on this one, but I'm definitely looking possibly at getting back in here on the JAGX. Let's give this one the old college try, Assassino. What we're going to do is we're going to get in close to the $0.50. That way, if we get in at the $0.50, we can just give it to below the 10 EMA on the 5. It loses the 10 EMA. I'm out. Simple as that. So there we go. We're in at 53s, excuse me. So break even currently. Let's look for some profit takers towards that 60 level and then possibly above if we can get that. All right, Sharif. Shout out to Brent. Appreciate you, Brent, dropping cash in the chat. Appreciate that, my man. $2 super from Brent. Sharif, please take a look at RDW, long-term hold. Say less, my man. We're going to do it right now. RDW is the ticker being spoken about by Brent. Take a look. Redwire Corp on the NYSE. What am I looking at here, Brent? I'm looking at a $2 billion market cap, and they are an integrated aerospace and defense company. Already love the sector. You know how I feel about that. Defense company focused on advanced technologies, focused on aerospace infrastructure, autonomous systems, multi-domain operations, leveraging digital engineering and AI automations. You got to throw in the AI, of course. 1 second, Assassino. We're going to do that in 1/2 second. We're just going to look at the daily here. So I've seen better looking dailies, especially in the defense sector. So what I'm seeing here is an unbroken down, well, not downtrend, but lower highs. Certainly you could make the argument there's a downward channel as well. What I do like about this, Brent, is that you've reclaimed the 200. You're on a nice little uptrend there as of late since the lows in December to the current price action. You're up 155%. I like that very much. Key levels for me are going to be a decided break of this trend line. That's first and foremost. Second, what we're looking at here is a break of this key area of support, 15. 15 is yelling at me right here. $15 resistance, access support. $15 resistance, access support. $15 so 15 is going to be a key level here after this trend line breaks. I like it. I like it off the lows. You can't dog something that's 150% up in the matter of a month and a half. I like the sector. Not a bad name, Brent. Just use stop losses, use risk management skills, but you've got the right sector. The chart, I've seen better charts, but look at this volume profile, mind you, as well. A very, very healthy volume profile here supporting this uptrend. I like it. Good luck, Brent. Hope you print up multiple storms. But we're going to take a quick pause right now. I do see the super chat. Thank you for that. I will take a picture of it, and I will cover the super chat as soon as we get back from Happening Now with Adara and Neil's lesson of the day.
Let's talk about this market. I mean, certainly making some lower highs, that's for sure. Here's the 15-minute chart. We did drop right off the open, as Obi mentioned, a nice reversion here. But this most recent 15-minute candle is showing more signs of weakness, potentially to derail any strength here heading into the end of the day and the week for the S&P 500. Now, heading forward and just what to be aware of looking into the next couple days. We did have some Fed speak today. Fed's Bowman being a little bit dovish, saying that she doesn't think the Fed should be signaling any kind of pause to its rate cutting campaign. But we also have the Supreme Court apparently signaling that they could be making or releasing a decision here on Tuesday. Not clear if it's about tariffs, but just be aware there could be some kind of decision which potentially could relate to tariffs on Tuesday, January 20th, when we get back from the long weekend. SanDisk, SNDK, started really strong here, much like Micron and all these names in the memory space, but giving back a lot of that strength here. The main catalyst for this actually had to do with MU, which had its first insider purchase from a president by the name of Mark Liu since 2022. So nice insider buy here for MU, but unable to continue to lift the stock today. Then we have ASTS, and I want to mention these space names once again. I've talked about them a lot today, but they're one of the few sectors and areas that's actually staying quite strong despite this weakness and wishy-washiness here in the market. AST Space Mobile, once again, here landing a prime shield slot under the Golden Dome strategy. We are going to send you over to Neil and his always exciting lesson of the day, but before we do that, we have to take a moment to thank our friends at Origenics. Why? Because concussions demand fast solutions. NYSE listed Origenics, or OGEN, they're developing a solution designed to reach the brain in a quick and non-invasive way. How do you learn more? Well, you can just schedule a meeting today. Thank you very much to OGEN. Thank you very much to Neil. He's going to give us a lesson of the day. So Neil, let's hear that lesson.
Appreciate you there, Adara. And lesson of the day, I just heard Sharif go, yeah, Neil. Well, yeah, Sharif. guess what I'm going to talk about today? It's in there. JFBR, it's in there. Why? Because trading and patterns are fractal. And fractal means that you can find them on higher time frames, but you know what? It also means that you can find opportunities, hopefully when you develop a strategy, in some other places. Like if you're not a small cap trader, I find oftentimes it's like we look at some of these names later in the session for those big power moves later in the day, but sometimes right off the open, some of the setups that we look for, that I look for maybe 20 or 30 minutes into the session or a little bit later in the session, on these small cappers, because they do so much volume pre-market, it's almost like around the open is that 10, 10:30 where you've got the opening range. It's like they're showing you in the pre-market what we get out of the first 30 minutes in some of the bigger cap tech names or the medium cap tech names. And so what I've found is you can get opportunities like this JFBR. Just look at this. Ignore some of the dark pool wicks, top and bottom. The body of the lower highs and the higher lows going into the open formed a perfect wedge. And instead of waiting for this to happen at 10 o'clock, this ends up being a clean breakout right at 9:30. And if you weren't tracking this pattern the same way we do trend reversions at like 10 o'clock or 10:30, whenever it might be, you can be doing that with some of these small cappers. Because if you miss that entry, like that's it. That was your chance. You're pretty much gone. Now remember, when you're doing a strategy like this, I find on small cappers, you might have to adjust in terms of what your stop might be. Like the whole tight stop in here would be break there, maybe give it to this level. I would figure you're giving it to all the way to the bottom of the trend, of the downward trend line, because small cappers probably want a little bit more space. But that's so similar to like when we look at wedge setups or trend breakouts or trend reversals at 10, 10:30, that you're going to get something like that on a JFBR, that you're going to get something like, and I can pull up VERO for a similar notion. Like VERO is almost, it's literally a consolidation break. Like look at this. Like that's a pattern. If we were sitting there, I say we a lot, but I should say me, but I do say we a lot. If you're sitting there, and I like trend reversions, well, look at this one. From lower highs into a flat bottom, and then right at 9:30, it just immediately breaks out. Well, it's like, okay, Neil, but good luck catching that little mini micro break at 9:30. Look at the volume candle. You're not going to get that. What's another strategy that I really love in the open market outside of revisions? Oh, that's right. Pull back into the prior high. Well, if you like the pull back into the prior high, it does the trend break, pulls back into what? The prior high. It's about as good technically as you're going to find. Like it's absolutely gorgeous on VERO. And so a lot of times what'll happen is, like you know me, like I can have a million plans of action, this stock at this price and key levels or whatnot, and then something comes along and it's like, oh, boom, let's go into a reversion because we happen to like it. But like, what am I doing for the first half an hour? Is stalking SMCI, waiting for a trend reverse. Well, that's not bad. 32 to 31 ain't bad. But I mean, if you get this trend break or this pullback in a prior high in VERO on a small capper, it's insane how good this trade ends up being. Like you're just sometimes talking an order of magnitude better. Now that does require, I would say, like an exit strategy. If I was to be trading these a little bit, if I start to apply this, which I'm going to try to do maybe this year, you have to have a different exit strategy. And that's sort of the second part of it. Because my strategy usually involves like going step by step and taking profits out at like a small measured move, something along those lines. When you're doing it in the small capper, you have to have an exit strategy which is holding a little bit longer if you're going to make it work. There's more slippage, you want to get more upside, that's just how they are. But the actual patterns that you're looking for, they develop in the pre-market. And that's what's cool about it. A lot of times with these other names, I don't care if SMCI has a pattern in the pre-market. The volume after the open matters too much more. But with these small cappers that gap around and do a lot of their volume relatively in the pre, that is enough data for you to find some of these patterns in the very first few minutes or right at the open even. So to all those small cap traders out there, it's a great game, but it's not just for only in the pre-market trading or waiting till they get that secondary push at lunchtime. You can use that pre-market as your opening range like you would for mid caps and big caps, and then look for trades right off the open. And both VERO and the second one, what is it, that I think it was a different one, JF whatever, JFBR. The names of these Jeff's brands. Yeah, that's a pretty funny name. It doesn't really matter. It's just about pattern recognition and then executing a plan of action. And if I like trend reversals and breakouts from trend lines, then you can find them here too. And don't let anybody tell you that you have to trade you have to trade large caps, or you got to do this or that. Penny stocks aren't any good. Blah blah blah. Trading is trading. Your job as a trader is literally to find edge and make money off of it. Nothing else matters in trading. Lots of things matter in life, but in trading, nothing else matters. Find yourself an edge and take advantage of it. And there are chances and opportunities in these small cappers as well, something that maybe I look to do a little bit more of this year. So I wish I could tell you. I was going to give a grade on the lunch, but I haven't even like unwrapped it yet. So does it? There's like the beef. Can you see? There's like the rice we got, then like vegetables, and then a little salad in there too. So it looks tasty. I just haven't tried it, so I don't want to jump to any conclusions here. Don't count your eggs until they're hatched, right? So enjoy the rest of your session, everybody. Good luck. We'll see you back at 2.
All right, thank you.
Somebody say eggs? I just heard eggs. That was a hell of a midday, a hell of a Neil lesson of the day, daily lesson by Neil, I should say, sorry, because it had to do with small caps, right? All right, guys, while Neil was dropping said lesson of the day, VERO decided to break trend and more content I could not be. We're in at 10, we're at 11. I'm looking at getting more in because it's now holding in higher highs and higher lows, and has been since the candle at 11:45 on the 5. I'm talking about this candle, bottom right of your screen, right there, that big red one. It never shows as clearly on the white charts as it does on the black one. So just let me show you over here. There's VERO. There's the candle. And since that, it's been subsequent higher highs and higher lows. Clearly a seller at 11, given what the candle here at 12:05 just did, topping tail in nature. This current candle that we're in, the 1210 candle, is engulfed. It is higher, it has higher lows, but it has lower highs. So we just opened up. I think we're 1 minute deep in this candle, 2 minutes deep now. Let's see what this one ends up doing. A break of $11 here will probably get a lot of people long because, well, $11 level. We had a lot of trouble with 11 earlier. Recall 11 at 11 o'clock, at 11:05. Again, we barely broke through it here at 11:10. So $11, given what the 12:05 candle did, probably will be an interesting breakout level. I'm going to keep watching that, but always got something to tell you.
All right, guys, let me ask you this. If somebody handed you $1.25 million to trade, would your process change or just your upside? That's the opportunity Funded Futures Network provides. They're a futures prop firm that gives traders access to large sim and live funded accounts every single day. They've already paid millions to traders around the world with fast same-day and daily payouts. And right now, evaluation accounts are 50% off, buy one, get one free, and no activation fees. You can find the link below or scan the QR code to check it out. All right, man, this Amazon, I did get a little aggressive with it, as the market looked like it was kind of chopping and popping to the downside. And yeah, none of the pops really kind of followed through. We got all the way up to VWAP, or almost to VWAP, and then I was just like, okay, I'm taking more. Remember, I was like, sellers are at VWAP, so if we're going to pop towards it and make lower highs, I definitely want to participate. But guess what? Shorted, I guess, 69s, 66s, 60s flat, 55s as well. We got all the way down to this 237 40s. Market's looking like it's coming in as well, but it's just taking too long for me. There it is. There's a swipe up. So I did cover a decent chunk of it there, but Intel's the one, man. Intel continues to push lower, slow and steady. I guess that's what they say wins the race, right? And Intel to the downside, slow and steady, just bleeding out right now. Below 47s, fresh lows on the day. The market's not really doing too much. It looks like it's trying to pull back here. We still have about 44 seconds on this 15-minute chart to finish. Now 40 seconds right there. But yeah, Let's see how this candle ends up closing. You can see prior 15-minute candle, strong bottom wick, maybe signifying a little bit more buying than selling going into the close of the prior candle there. But we did open up and starting to hold a little red on this one, but gotta wait and see, man. The buyers did come back after the selling, so I do have to be nimble. And I've said this before, the probabilities of different iterations of price action definitely change with every tick, with every order that comes in at times. Maybe sure, some orders not as significant as others. You got to be able to weigh the action as well. Like, for example, like Sharif was like, oh, there's head and shoulders here, right? This could be a head and shoulders. Guess what? This was resistance, and I didn't speak about the support that was here. We did bounce off of that support that was here earlier on in the day, and yeah, it's an inverse head and shoulders. Sharif was like, yeah, you got to watch out for that. I'm like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That is a bit of a range that held for over an hour. This range held from 9:40 all the way to 9:30, so just around an hour there. We pull back into that range after attempting to break it out both ways. We attempted to break it out to the downside. Couldn't really get too far, even though the range break was a great scalp. The reversion came in all the way to VWAP. And then now if we're going to chop around here, I do want to lighten up at the lower end of the range. I do want to maybe participate some more if we do get to the higher end of the range. And then just chop, 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 have a stop out. If it gets past that, it'll stop out. And ideally, I might not be in too much size, mainly size at the high of the range, and then lightening up at the lower end of the range, and then re-engaging if we do get a range break. Right? Staying nimble is the name of the game here, especially if I'm trying to trade some of this chop on large caps in the middle of the day. So
makes sense.
We'll see where the next trade is right here. I do have some of these stocks, Comcast as well. I don't know, Comcast was on my radar a little earlier. Softy might be the one.
Were you the one that told me you don't trade 5-letter tickers? You just invest in them? Was that wasn't you, was it?
No, I don't think so.
CMCSA? Okay. Because GOOGL as well, right?
Yeah, no. There's no way
Okay, that was not you, huh?
Yeah, no,
that's not your not your wheelhouse there. Okay, I don't know who said that to me, but somebody said. Maybe
I don't think I'd do something like that. But
no, I don't.
Yeah,
think
it makes no sense
as a serious thing.
Yeah.
It was more
as like a joke. Yeah, I get it. But we talked about that Apple range earlier. That's coming into the low of the range. So I'm thinking maybe the market reverts in and around here. The market did revert. We bounced off of 25.6s here on the Nasdaq, and then 6.9, 6.5s here roughly on the ES as well. But okay, here we go. The beginning of the next 15-minute candle. This might be the flush that I'm looking for here, Sharif. And Softy might be the vehicle that I want to take. I keep typing MSTR, man. Oh my God. It's the MS, and then the T's right there, T's and Softy too, and the F and the R are right there as well. So I don't know, my brain's getting a little jumbled there on that 462.27 high a day there. 15-minute prior bar break coming in after a few 15-minute candles hold, and you can see the prior two candles. What do they call this? Is this a hammer? It's a hammer candle.
Star, or what are they called?
Shooting star.
Shooting star. I just call it a topping tail.
Yeah, it's seller dominance at the beginning, at the end of that candle right there. So, and we close, like I said before, there's so many different names for this stuff, and it's not like one way is right or wrong. It's just like everybody has so many different names for this. I know there's official names in technical trading books as well. But it's always fun to come up with your own names. Make it your own. Like you have the Quadung, and I assume that as well. I'm like that's a Quadung candle.
Listening to Max say Quadunk was the best ever. Because he couldn't really wrap around saying it properly, but we miss Max, man. All right. There was a super chat that we got before we had to go to happening now in Neil's lesson of the day, and obviously I can't read that. So if this is you right there. Hello. Not that one, Assassino. We'll get to that one in a second. Can you look at VNRX, long-term hold? VNRX is the ticker. We're going to look at that one in a hot second, then we'll get to, I promise, the other one. VNRX. Let's take a look at this. What do we got here? Volition RX. Volition RX. Let me do a little bit of
Information search here, 28 penny stock, down 3% on the day, traded about 394,000 shares of volume. That doesn't matter, obviously, because it's a long-term hold. Market cap of 34.75 million. Is a multinational company focused on advancing the science of epigenetics. The company is dedicated to saving lives and improving the outcomes of people and animals with life-altering diseases through earlier detection, as well as diseases and treatment monitoring. Through its subsidiaries, developing, commercializing blood tests, oh boy, to help diagnose and monitor a range of diseases, including cancers and disease. I don't know, I just think of Elizabeth Holmes as soon as I hear stuff like that, right? So, yeah, US2 Assassino, yeah, that's the thing. All right, so it's not a good looking chart. I hate to start off negative like this. This chart really does go all the way back to May of 2022. And it has been an unbroken lower low, lower high trend since then. It has lost its status as a dollar name, meaning that either a delisting is coming or a reverse split to get back in compliance. It tried to test the dollar in July. I'm not sure how they haven't gotten a letter quite yet. Is this a Nasdaq name? AMZN, that's why. Okay, so that's why they're not getting the letter. Makes more sense, makes more sense. I don't like it. I don't know anything about the fundamentals of the company, so I want to make that very clear. But the technicals are not showing anything positive to say. I hate to be super negative. This is the weekly on it. We're at all-time lows, or it looks like we just got to all-time lows. I want to say on this day, November, so basically the end of the year, we got to all-time lows, having a low there, I believe, of 22 pennies. So I'm going to say no. This looks like it could be all-time low. So back in 2013, it got to 25 pennies. So no, 22 pennies is the all-time low. I don't like it. I like what they have to say in terms of, you know, what they're trying to do. But the market typically judges whether it's good or bad. And the price here is determinative for me. And I'm sorry, but I wouldn't invest. Assassino, can we put up the other super so we can get to it? Pardon me? I did that one? Okay, no worries, no worries. I appreciate that. No worries. Okay, guys, JAGX is breaking trend, and it's looking real good here, okay? It's having trouble with 160, but it is holding clean off the 10 EMA. The reason I'm saying it's having trouble is because nothing is closing above 160, whether on the 5-minute or the 1-minute, which means sellers are obviously earmarking that 160 area, whether short sellers or profit takers, and so we need to see how this is gonna manifest. Now, what you could do is you could base it on prior bar low. Prior bar low takes us to 151. So you're going to have to risk 10 pennies here. Are you going to make 10 pennies on the way up? Well, it's a 187 high. Just ask me, because I had my order at 188 and we didn't get the fill. So that is the situation. I'm thinking here that I want to work my way back into JAGX. I don't want to get too quickly. I'm going to get in here. What did I get? I got 61s. Fantastic. Not a good price. We're going to post. I'm going to post at 65 and 69. Let's see what we get on this one separately. Oops. VERO. What the hell happened to my level 2? It disappeared. That's okay. We can open up another one. That's what this for. Is that time of sales? There we go. Stock window. Just allow me a second over here.
There's a lot of disappearing windows today, man.
Yeah, it's okay, Ob. Not a problem. Not a problem. JAGX on the NQ, and we got to link this window now, though, Ob. What number is that? That's 11. So we're gonna do it live. We're gonna link to window 11. There we go. Apply. Okay. And here we go. We're at 164. I'm posted here at 65. Let's see if we can get that move up into 65. There's a huge seller at 64 that we can't shake. And look at the amount of buy orders coming in on the time and sales. So the shorts are certainly earmarking this 160 area here as a clear area of resistance. We can't close above it, so I'm gonna have to be alive to that. But I wanted to get to VERO, because as Neil was dropping his lesson of the day, I was getting in and getting out. So initially in at 10, scalped up all the way 11, rejected 11, got back in at 85, at 1085, scalped up into the $0.25, added twice on this. So we're riding trend here on VERO, but trend is giving it up and giving it up in a hurry. And this is not a good look whatsoever. Let me tell you why, because this is becoming an area crest and a lower crest at that. Area high, and then this is turning into an area high, which means what? Which means a lower high. that's a no good, because that is what we call a descending wedge, especially with this 10,950 area acting as the flat bottom. This could end up being a flat bottom break. I'm not calling it quite yet. Just saying be on the lookout for that. If this ends up being an area crest at $11, well, it's a substantially lower area crest than the 12 or 13, depending on whether you're looking at closing print or wick. The reason I got in, though, is because it broke this decided trend line. So, meaning what? If we get back above 11.25 and stay above 11.25, I don't worry about that flat bottom break anymore, because that's not an area crest anymore, because we will have taken it out. We'll have gone above it. So that's my look there. But look at JAGX go, pleasing me. Very, very nice. What a move up into 169. We get the beak wet. In fact, it was 170 now. Let's post at 177. Good look here on JAGX. Looks like we took out that seller at 65. 65, I think he was, 64, 65. Let's see now, can we work our way back into that high a day? Again, it's 87, the high of the day. But if you're looking at wetting the beak at 87, I would say the next profit taker needs to be closer to that $2 area. Because if we take out the high of the day, the chances are, you never really know, but the chances are we at least glance at two, if not clear it. So keeping an eye here on JAGX, it seems to be, you know, one of the ones that's still holding up. I want to mention IBRX, though, for the OG Bovin, because Bovin's been talking about IBRX all day, and he has a reason to. It's up 36%. It's a good-looking trade. It's not a rocket ship like VERO or any of the others, but this is a hell of an upward channel. And as I always say, trade it like an upward channel until it shows you the breakout. So what does that mean? That means you leave a piece for the dream. You're getting in towards the lower end of the range. That's the lower trend line right there. You're looking at picking up, having a resting order there probably helps, and then you're wetting the beak. You're taking profits towards the upper end, the upper trend line there, and then you're leaving a piece. Because if the upper trend line breaks, you want to be holding for that, you know, that short squeeze where some people are caught offside. So IBRX in focus, but CTMX needs to be in focus as well. A slower mover, but a beauty nonetheless. 21.5% in the Ville of Green. This looks really good, having not even glanced at the 10 EMA on the 5 since 10:30, and that was the last time it touched it. And it's been much more steady state, higher lows, higher highs. Good volume support. It's not the biggest volume play on the day, but a very clean move nonetheless. CTMX, for those who don't really want to trade the parabolic names, looking real good. Just before we send it back to OB, VERO is putting in a higher low relative to this candle here. So this could be its own independent upward channel. Okay, so I need to be alive to that as well. And a move above this doji candle here, the one at 12.15, which would be 11.25, I want to say 11.25, 11.5, gets me back into VERO, because that would be a reclaiming of the area crest. Keeping an eye on this one open.
Yes, sir. So that softy breakdown did come in, that consolidation 461. I did get involved, and you can see a couple arrows in there. So I think I mistyped my I guess stop a little bit there. I think I put 460s and some change, and then it should have been 461s and some change. You can see here price structures right there. It got me out right away as soon as we kind of hit that price. I was like, oh, what's going on? I want to get right back in here, but I guess we're now looking at the 1 minute chart. This is, I think, a 9 EMA if I'm not mistaken. So Softy was holding the 9 EMA to the upside here, all the way up to 462s. Bit of a change in behavior now as we slam back down through, consolidate, lower structure, stepping down. Market's printing its third red candle in a row now, Sharif. We did come down into 460s, but making lower highs right now as well. So just let's see if that follow through will come in. That's what I got. So that's what I got on watch, and I'll continue right after we get back.
All right, guys. PDS Biotechnology, trading on the Nasdaq under ticker PDSB. They're transforming how the immune system targets and fights cancer with initial focus on HPV-16 positive head and neck cancer. HPV-16 can cause head and neck cancer, and more people are facing these high-risk cancers than ever before. HPV-16 positive head and neck cancers are projected to become the most common type of head and neck cancer in the US in a few years. So you need to learn more at www.pdsbiotech.com. TNMG.com. Gotta love, I love those headlines and those ad reads, especially the ones that are trying to cure things that ail so many of our family members. I don't know how many of you guys that are watching right now have a family member who's succumbed or having to fight cancer at the moment, and they're just, God, there's so many different types. So the sooner we get rid of that, the better. That's what I wanted to say there. Brisso, Sharif, were you a Tim Sykes guy? I'm not. I never was a sub $1 stock trader. Tim Sykes loves.
He does more than that. He does way more than that.
His wheelhouse is sub on the OTCs, and he likes those sub $1. I like RC. RC was my guy.
No, shout out to Tim Sykes, man. Like,
I have no beef.
Like I started my journey with a lot of his material, right? With a lot of his material. Again, a lot of people say a lot of his material is fluff, but here's the thing: the ability to extract information and value from a piece of content is all on you. Sure, a lot of it can be fluff, but can you really hone in and sit down and piece together the key points that the instructor, in this case, Sykes, is really trying to portray? That's where the skill lies, right? It's just like, okay, I've done so much school. What did I learn? The best thing that I learned was how to learn. I had so many profs that I did not like. Just because I don't like a prof, like a lot of people wouldn't like profs, and their marks in that class would be like abysmal, right? And that was all on them. The material's the same. The material's the same. Same for everybody, right? It's just like, okay, you got to be, first of all, you got to be willing to learn. Here comes a little bit of selling on the market. Be willing to learn. And no, definitely shout out to him, because that's where I started a decent chunk of my journey. And another guy, I mean, I don't really hear too much about him anymore, but Tim Grattani. Oh, yeah. That was his content was a game changer for me. Because he was one of the first guys that basically showed you the book, showed you the tape, and then talked through his mindset while taking the trade. And I was like, okay, so this is like, he's really taking me through like what's going on. And that's where I learned the most from. So it's just like now
everybody's experience is a little bit different about who they really chose to.
Yeah, of course, and like I did a lot of Cameron as well. Yeah. Right. I did a lot of Cameron as well. I would sit there and watch. I didn't trade alongside him.
I've seen you trade these on.
No, of course. I used to trade a lot of that theme when I was trading at home. Fair. Right? A lot of small caps, a lot of mid caps. Again, not a big account size. So I'm like, okay, how many shares of Tesla can I really take? So I did participate in a lot of that. And that's why sometimes I call it small to mid caps can be pretty ranked at times. But now I'm realizing it's just like, okay, now I've maybe learned a little bit more, stepped up my game, and some of those arenas might be a little bit more enticing for me. Right? So I'm just like, okay, well, no, shout out to some of those guys. They really bring in the crowd. I'll say that much. They're great. They're great at marketing, right? But it brings people into the scene, and from there, it's up to you to really evolve and step your game up, right? So it's no, definitely shout out to his teachings. There is a lot of good in there. I know he's kind of a hype man. Kind of very, lots of marketing stunts, if you want to call them, but it's what gets the people going. So I don't blame him.
I like what you said.
I don't blame him, man. It's a different game. It's a different game. But
gets the people going.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means. Yeah. Gets the people going. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
What?
I don't know if he's. Are you talking to me, Fabian?
You got to be willing to learn. That's the biggest thing. You can't just discount somebody just because you think they're whatever. You got to be like, all right, what's the actual value that I can extract from this? It doesn't matter what I think about the person. What do I think about the content and the real, like, the knowledge that's being portrayed? Like was it back in he was on Wall Street Warriors.
Interesting.
I don't know if you remember, but he was on Wall Street Warriors. He had a short fund. There's a great interview that he did, a podcast with Lance recently, just talking about some of his past and stuff. It's definitely worth a watch there. But anyways.
Yeah, no. This is all
besides
for me.
the point. Yeah, man.
I dalliance with the small caps. I didn't even.
No, of course, man. Like
I had no idea.
Dude, I told you, I got my account got shut down a bunch of times. Like I got squeezed out. I got margin called a few times. right? Dealing with some of those names. Now, guess what? If I see squeeze tape, oh boy.
Where the hell?
I know exactly what to do with it. Either get out or look for places where shorts are definitely absolutely going to get rocked and participate in that. Participate in the rocking of the shorts, right?
Understood.
It's there you go. Mike P. DeRider. Yeah, SMB as well. SMB puts out some great content for the trading community, right? Educational content. They're probably some of the best. But are you really willing to sit down and go through hours and hours of content? If you really want to learn, absolutely, you should be able to, or you should be wanting to, right? The same with reading. There's a lot of great books out there as well. But who's really putting in that time, right? Anyways.
I think with the small caps as well, the small caps really do, and trading in general, as much as you're gonna read and do your thing there from the educational sense, as much of it is, it's just so fast paced and requires a lot of practice. One thing I would definitely suggest for the small cap traders is hotkeys with different size, buy and sell hotkeys. Really depends on what system you're using. It really does help take profits at key levels because they don't spend too much time in any one area. So I really always want to stress resting orders there. All right, let's get right down to business because, typical midday stuff where the small caps are pulling back and they're kind of their best look is behind them a little bit. But there are still some that are trading in non-parabolic ways. So let's get to those ones. IBRX, the one that the OG Bovin gave us, continuing to kind of trend in that upward channel. IBRX is the ticker. And this one had a great day yesterday. So this is a second day play. It's had multiple great days. So look, guys, from what the hell day is this? This Monday, the 12th. From the 12th to the high of the day, what the hell is going on over here? From the 12th to the high of the day today, we're up 144% on IBRX. So it's a good looker, but not really parabolic. I would be getting in here and giving it to 30. Let's go ahead and give that one the old college try. We're going to get into IBRX over here. We're going to take out Viking Therapeutics, IBRX. On the NQ, we're in at 33. We're looking at, right there. So we're at actually 32. Not bad, not bad. So getting towards that lower end of the channel. So the lower end of the channel for me, let me just maximize this so I can have a better look. IBRX. Now, where am I wrong here on IBRX if it doesn't hold up at the channel? I am wrong below 25. But I'm not going to give it to 25. We're going to give it to prior bar low, which takes us into 27. All right, fine. We'll do just that, and then we'll throw in the stop there. Just give me a second over here to set up. There we go. Good. Now we can kind of focus a little bit. I don't know why my position board is not working. As I'm in at 33s. It shows that I'm not in, but I am in. All right, so let's go ahead, post at 37, and then we're going to put some above 40s as well. So IBRX, we're in IBRX. It'll hopefully show up on the position board once I wet the beak over here. We'll see whether this one pops up and gives me the print. Also, I wanted to point out CTMX, another really, consistent higher high, higher low. This one is so strong, it hasn't touched the 10 EMA on the 5 since 10:35 this morning. The 10 EMA is showing 504, so 505, 506 could be a good buy area. You could also look to defend into 5. That would necessitate a loss of the 10 EMA, but the $5 level is a key area of psychological support. So I'd be looking at CTMX for certain. And in fact, I'm going to look to set up on CTMX right now on a different trading screen. If I'm just able to move this over, let's go ahead and put CTMX on here. And I'm going to look for a $5 dip and pop. Is this an NQ name? Yes, it is. Good, good. All right, so we're going to look for a 505 dip trade. We're going to sit at 505. Let's see if that comes into that. That will be a 10 EMA and a good look. Guys, JFBR, VERO, JAGX, some of the usual suspects, they're breaking down. Those were the parabolic names. That's why we're getting into these non-parabolic names. But I want to mention PRFX. Fantastic day yesterday in the aftermarket. If you guys caught this at 405, oh baby. From the closing print to the high of the day or to the aftermarket high. So I'm literally talking about 4 o'clock to about 5:15, up 89%. Today, the good news is we took out yesterday's high and we're holding yesterday's lows. This one I said very little about because it had been trading below VWAP basically the entire show. It just reclaimed VWAP now. $1.29 with VWAP at $1.24. So you're getting that rounding shape, right? Now, whether or not we clear 150 with any decisiveness, we couldn't really do it before, and that's what kind of caused this topping tail candle into 159. No closing prints above 150, mind you, so you need to be alive to that. So those are the ones I'm looking at getting into CTMX, looking at getting in IBRX, and then PRFX I'm not too bad with. CTMX, Busy Trader says is doing bupkis volume. Let me just have a quick look. 4.5 million shares. It's not the best. I'm not going to pretend like it is, but 4.5 million on a $5 name. Look, it's subjective, right? It's time of day dependent and price dependent volume, that is, right? So what it was doing at 9 o'clock, given the price, is not what it should be doing, you know, for a certain type of trade at 1 o'clock, given the price. So time dependency, price dependency for volume on these small cap gappers. That's just kind of my look there. What do you got, my man?
Yeah, so it did get taken out of that Amazon as it comes right back in, but with the open of this candle, some selling coming right back in as well. Didn't quite get stopped out of the softy as it didn't go high enough, but it's pulling back. It's holding this 461 as of right now, so I do have eyes on this. This Amazon, that was an aggressive bid. Breaking that range high, I was like, all right, cool. I did not get in anymore at the high of the range there, but stopped out over here into the push into 238, but got right back in as we show a little bit of weakness. So was that just a quick little wash into the range highs there? I have no idea, but the tape kind of stalled. We're pulling back in. Let's see if we can break back below 238s. I do want to be pretty nimble on this one there. 460s is what I'm looking at, or I was looking at here on Softy. So really just staring this down. We're back below 238s right here. Not really exciting stuff, but we'll see. We'll see if this will come into fruition here and give me some action to the downside. VWAP is where specifically? Let's take a quick look at where that might be. 237.74. So that's what we were kind of dealing with earlier there, 237.74s. But if we're going to continue this bid and push higher, I do want to just piece off and be like, all right, cool. Where's the next trade? I do want to cover some here on the whole. If it'll print me on the whole, 238s. It's got to go through it though, and if it doesn't, that's perfectly fine as well. But let me know in the chat, what are you guys trading? What are you guys involved with? Market maybe looking like it's maybe bouncing. Apple is the one, man. Apple's the one that is breaking through its lows with some distinction here, looking distinctly different. If I do say so myself. So Apple's the one right here. Where's my Apple chart? Let me pull that up for you guys. Apple. Okay, so where's the highs? Okay, cool. Right here. So the highs coming in right at that level. Let's get rid of some of this right here. So 258.90s is the high there. And pulling all the way back into 255s is Apple as of right now. So yeah, interesting stuff. Distinctly different from the rest of the Mag 7 on the day. And maybe looking for a potential reversion. But if this is going to continue to stay this week, then probably not going to get involved. I think the breakdown of this 256 was nice. The pullback in towards VWAP, if you were getting into any sort of pops, that was nice. Look at this prior day low breakdown. A little choppy, but 257s comes in nice. And then I think this was the weekly low as well. Was that the weekly low? Is that Monday? That is Monday. The weekly low came in at 256.70s. So yeah, a little bit of confluence with prior day low and weekly low as well. 257s could not get past that and pulling back in pretty aggressively to the downside. The market's not looking the same, man. The market is not looking the same at all here on Apple. We can take a look at friends here. NVDA, not really pulling up into VWAP there, but slow, steady consolidation near the lows here. So near pre-market lows as well. We did hold above prior days. We're well within prior days range, so nothing too crazy happening there. Amazon I am participating in. You can see here, yeah, that head and shoulders, man, might be coming into fruition as we pull back up into some of these pre-market high levels as of right now. So Amazon kind of doing its thing. Prior high, what is that? 238.31s have on the chart. We're almost coming right back up into it. And what's the other one that I wanted to take a look at? Tesla here as well. Tesla, strong selling. Wow, look at that bid off of the open, man. All the way from 439s. That's almost 2%, man. 1.76%, and then we take a pullback, and that should be about a percent pullback, roughly. Okay, more than a percent. 2.68, 2.7% pullback off of, if you took a reversion off of that strong bid off of the open there. So yeah, a lot of consolidations happening right here. Nothing too crazy. Let's take a quick look at what I was watching in the morning session here as well. Where did that go? ASTS, holding VWAP, man, holding VWAP on ASTS. So the momentum, the craziness from the morning has definitely dissipated. The relative volume is still in and around 2.5s, 2.6s. You can see the volume here really fell off after about 10 o'clock. So around 10:30, 10 o'clock, volume falls off, and we start to kind of chop in this range on top of VWAP here on ASTS. I know VERO still holding that level, man. It's still holding, reclaiming the 10, but made it a lower high here and pulling back in. Market, what you up to?
What you up
Maybe
to?
this 15-minute bar, which just starting off a little bit red here. See if we can get that continuation. You can see prior bars have been holding on the Nasdaq. Prior bars have been holding relatively well, nothing too crazy, but holding pretty well here on the ES as well. So are these sellers going to step back in? Is this another instance of a free fall Friday?
Free Friday. All right, guys, we got to pause for a second. We've got news with Adara at the big desk.
Keep an eye on Dominion Energy. D is the ticker for this one. Apparently, a judge has said that Dominion Energy can resume a wind project that was halted by U.S. President Trump. So again, Dominion here, I guess, allowed to resume its wind project. Nice look for this stock. Little rally here. Back to you.
All right.
Thank you very much. There's some selling. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Come on. Let's get it. Let's break that up. Trend Amazon and give me what I'm looking for, man. Let's see. Where am I posted? Okay, I got to start maybe dabbling out of this one. VWAP again, 237.70s. I have. Let's see what it is on this chart. A couple different charts here. 237.74 specifically. Wow, look at that. Swipe down and then swipes right back up. Thank you. Okay, come on. Got me a little excited there, but not really following through as we bid right back up. Ooh. Okay.
All right, I'm
Where's
in
the next
PRFX. Got in initially a bit of a shake and bake, as Obe sometimes says. Got stopped out of it. Held VWAP, even though put in the mother of all topping tail candles on the 5 at 1240. It's holding the volume weighted average price, and it's trying to work back up. So there's going to be bamboozlement, looks like, along the way. In addition to that, there's a seller here at 35 that we can't shake. Have a look. Okay, he's gone. 36s. Looking for 37s now. Let's see if the buying stepping in. 37 manifests. Can we get 38s? We're in at 33s. There it is. There's the beak wetter. Now we're posted in the low 40s. Looking for PRFX to continue on its merry way. There's 40. Looking for continuation now into the mid 40s. Selling coming in, but bought right back up. This one is a rounding pattern, and the rounding patterns are usually, I don't want to say, high accuracy, because I don't know that to be true. But, anecdotally, from what I've seen is the rounding patterns typically show you that buyers are incrementally becoming more and more exuberant or dominating sellers incrementally as that rounding shape takes a little bit of time to do. So keeping an eye here on PRFX. Looking for a squeeze, though, above the $1.50. It's a $1.59 high. We're getting a whole bunch of selling here, though, on the 40 penny level. Just before we go to OBE, I need to bring your attention to VERO, because VERO setting up like a very, very aggressive flat bottom break. As I mentioned, this is going to be an area crest now. It was a very clear rejection of $11, and now we're losing 10. There is this area over here that we have to keep an eye out. That's the prior area trough. That's prior area crest. And if we give up prior area trough, we could be all the way down. We could see $7 quick as you freaking like. That is the volume weighted average price. Not saying that's going to happen, but you need to be on the lookout for that VERO.
All right, guys. Savvy Canadian traders looking to boost their exposure can now tap into the Nasdaq 100 the S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3 times daily leveraged ETFs, which feature built-in FX hedging. This aims to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings. Whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active day traders ready to take on the market. Read the full disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing. All right, guys, so we got that bit of a shake and bake here on Amazon. We pulled all the way back into VWAP. We fell below this P Pro VWAP, P8 VWAP right here, but my VWAP on my other chart, like I said before, is all the way down at 237.70s. So that didn't really work out. Pulled right in and then swiped right back up here, maintaining a bit of this uptrend. Softy, still holding, so I'm still holding that one there. Hasn't really pulled up with any sort of distinction there. But the market is starting to come in here. We're making a lower low relative to some of these 15-minute candles with about 10 minutes left, roughly, just under 10 minutes left to finish printing this candle. So slow and steady, just slowly kind of making lower highs, lower lows. After, when was this? That was the local high, 1145. So we are in a bit of a pullback when it comes to this, these futures here. So let's see how far we're going to pull back. And guess what continues to pull back, Sharif?
Yes, sir.
Apple.
Yeah, I know, I can see that.
Apple's the one I should be shorting.
Very
Apple's
weak
the one I should be involved with because this one just continues. Yeah, it is pretty weak on the day.
Not just on the day, for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, in the week, in the past couple of weeks. Let's just take a look at the weekly on this one. Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa.
No
yeah,
good.
I see that. Yeah, but pulling back into some prior structure, 240s maybe, potentially. But higher highs and higher lows on this one. Bigger picture. You take a look at the multi-months. This is the 1 month chart. You can see this is pretty clean for a higher time frame. The legs and the monthly average ranges, sure, they're wide, both to the upside, to the downside, but we're holding higher highs and higher lows nonetheless. This wick is pretty convincing right here. This one, when was this? Was that April? Yeah, there you go. That April wick right there where we just slapped up, pulled back a little bit, 200 held, and then we're pushing even higher. I got a little scared here when we came back into these 160s earlier on last year. I was just like, oh no, maybe we're going to break some key levels. But thanks to the presidential seal, when he was just like, hey guys, it's a great time to buy the market.
You remember that?
Oh, of course I remember that.
Everybody remembers that. Yeah.
That was the most local low. That's the most recent significant low in my opinion since past April. And what have we been doing in reference to those areas? Straight line up.
Straight line. All right, let's get right down to work over here. Let's look at a new trade, TRNR. See a bunch of bottoming tail candles here, which could signify some buying. Prior bar low is all the way down at a 120. It's trying to hold up. I've got 31s on. I'm not going to give it that much room. Sorry, I'm distracted by other things as well. Guys, VERO is really breaking down now. And so the short looks like it's on. It looks like it's on the way to 9. We just broke through prior bar low. Prior crest low, which was 9.25. So that one looks like it is on the way down. Keeping an eye on this one. So two trades now. Looking at TRNR, because you guys have been mentioning this a lot in the chat. I think I just have to adjust my stop on this. So I think I'm putting my stop where I want it rather than where it should be. Prior bar low is where I'm going to put it, which is 120. But I'm going to look to add if it does lose that level, into 123. And then let's go ahead and put the stop there and then see what we get there for that. So this one does look like it's on the way down, though. It looks like it might breach prior bar low over here, which is not good for me. Yeah, it looks like this one is selling and selling aggressively. Stopped out of that one, so that will be a loser for me on that. And will that be my first loser? Nope, PRFX and TRNR are my two losers on the day. That's fine. IBRX were also involved in this one. Where is that? Just allow me a sec. So this one, we're going to keep an eye out on. Stopped out break even last time, looking for the continuation here into 40. I'm trying to trade this as a channel trade, but it's been tough. It's been more consolidative lately than channel trading. So I'm a little unsure about how to execute next on this. I'm just going to give it to 5 1/4. That's where it held last time. If it loses 5 1/4, that's another lower low, and that means I've got the wrong idea on this one. But the short is on, guys. On VERO now, it's coming down into 9. It looks like it might lose 9 here, and this is kind of what I meant by it lost prior area trough. This is the candle off which I'm basing my analysis, 11:45. It was 9:27, and there goes 9. It is down now into the mid-80s. The short is on. This could be a flat bottom break, baby, through that 9.5 if you were using that 9.5 as kind of the bottom, or some people could be using 10 as well. There was a lot of interactions with 10, but this one does seem like it is on the way to that $7 area, if not worse. That's where the volume weighted average price is. Unless it holds up here at $9, we're gonna have to keep an eye out on this one. But I'm gonna get involved. I'm involved with IBRX. I tried to get involved with IRE. This one is not available on our system. I was trying to punch in here at 1270. It's an MX stock. Probably doesn't do that much volume. 1306 high, but a clean hold off the 20 EMA. CTMX, I had a dip trade on this one at 505. This one got to 506. So I feel pretty badly about that. Should have been just punching in rather than looking, you know, at these, trying to nickel and dime this one, but hey, that's the look. CTMX, though, about a couple of pennies off the day high right now, so keep your eye on this one. Very, very clean, steady state, higher high, higher low. Very little in the way of bamboozlement, but, you know, with these stocks, that could absolutely change. JAGX is bleeding its own blood here, having lost that 150 area support. It is now down into the volume-weighted average price at 1 1/3. But recall, this is very similar. This could be another area of support here for JAGX, not just because it's a 130 area and that's where VWAP is, but this was the upper trend line earlier. Recall that we were kind of rejecting off this trend line multiple times, and then I got in once that trend line decidedly broke. Well, we're right at that trend line now, so let's see if it holds. Otherwise, you know, I'll have nothing to do with it unless it starts showing me higher highs and higher lows. VERO finding a whole bunch of support here at 875, 850, rocketing up back into $10. I'd be looking for $10 resistance here because that $10 flat bottom break, it's a former area of support. If that was the case, look for it possibly to act as a level of resistance. They tend to flip. So I'll be looking out for that. This could be a lot of short covering. Who knows? Who knows? Let the price action dictate. So yeah, that's all I've got at the moment. It looks like that TRNR was an excellent out because it just lost the dollar. I got out at 125 and now it's at 99 pennies. So use stops, guys. TRNR on Uncle Sheriff shit list now. It's going to be taken off immediately off the side chart because this is all sorts of hot garbage right now. TRNR. It's no good, Obi. We're going to keep an eye on that. CTMX continuing to go. And Lunar has awoken. Very long area of consolidation, basically since we started the show. Look at that. Very, very long area of consolidation. 22 gets taken out and taken out decisively. This could be a great continuation play. I don't know if anybody was trading this as a range, but it's a great looking prolonged bull flag. I believe this is the second bull flag that we got. 10 o'clock break, 2080 high. Drop back down, bull flag number 2. No two bull flags are created equal. Looks like a $22 resistance level on LUNR. Keeping my eye on that one, Ob.
Yeah, I'm just, I got a pretty strong wick there on both these charts on Amazon and Softy. Those are the ones I'm involved with right now. Market taking a bit of a pullback here, so we did break some of that structure. I just want to get rid of this this candle here. That we did not trade all the way up to 474s. That's just a dark pool wick. So 470, oh sorry, 460s is what we're trading around for. We'll just say 460, 461, 15s. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever, that should get rid of that. Boom, there we go, back in action right here. The 461s were holding up pretty well here on Softy. So sideways action as the market trends down, and guess what? It continues to be Apple. Apple is the culprit, it seems like, Sharif, for this strong sell-off. I'm looking here at some of this Mag 7. What else might be selling off? It's also Google. Google's near its day low. So let's take a quick look at Google here as it pushes into its day lows. Yeah, right there. So 328.92s roughly is the day low. We're trading at 329.30s as of right now here on the goggles, as the market pulls right back in. So Google and Apple seem like the ones that are really starting to pull back here pretty aggressively. But if they do start to bounce, then maybe I'm looking for the next trade for the reversion on some of these. Apple being the one I'm stalking more closely, because again, 255 is kind of that area. We talk about why that range. Let's just go to a daily chart, the range that we've been making here. So we did break below that range here, but again, is this just a leg consolidation leg going into the end of the day? It could very well be, Sharif. Okay. And I'm looking for a potential move either to step up back into the range and hold the range, or if we're actually going to break down, we've already started to do that, and now hopefully with some volume coming into the market at the same time. But again, only time will tell, man. Only time will tell with this one. Had to be involved much earlier. I think that 256s, 257s was great as well. Even if you looked at prior day low, right here, this is prior day low, 257s, and you're just like, all right, cool. If we're selling, we had some strong selling into the end of the day, and maybe at the end of the week is when we start to break.
I got to interrupt. TNMG breakout, guys. Here we go. It just blew through 4. It's a 428 high. It's up 80%. One that I'm keeping my eye on here. We're going to look to post at 35s. Big move up into 38. Anything below 4, off which I got in, I get out. But if it holds at 4, I'm going to add TNMG up 78%, looking really good. Midday move on volume, by the way. The last 3 volume bars on the 5 have been decent, about 250,000, maybe a bit more, 100 shares per pop. Looking for that continuation though, but it looks like there's aggressive profit taking into this level. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put another possible entry. I'm gonna put 405. Possible to get a little bit more into 405. That way, if I get in at 405, it loses 4. I'm not losing all that much. Here we go. It's coming back down into 4 now. Let's just watch here for a second. 409 just flashed momentarily. I'm going to go ahead and post my stop on this so that there's no subjectivity whatsoever. Let's go ahead and put that. Let's see if it follows through. Seller at 20, 25, 35. Here we go into another possible area high. Not quite though, into 38. So a lot of zig and zag, but the volume is picking up and the traders are watching this one, TNMG. We're gonna pause for a second. We're going to the big desk.
But now here in MSFT, we do have some announcements coming from OpenAI, which of course Microsoft has invested heavily in. OpenAI saying that in the US, ChatGPT Go is available at $8 USD per month, so $8 in the US per month. Also announcing here that apparently, I guess they're just talking about their ad tiers, so ads are not going to be happening here on Plus, Pro, Plus, Pro, Business, or Enterprise. So it looks like most of their paid tiers are not going to have these ads, and ads will be clearly labeled and separated from answers. So OpenAI talking a little bit about how their ads are going to work, and again, talking about their pricing of ChatGPT Go. Keep an eye here on TTD with this in mind as well. ChatGPT apparently going to have test ads. TTD usually does not respond well to ad-related catalysts, and here it is dropping a bit. Back to you.
Thank you for that. Got forced out of the last remaining amount, but back above 4 it goes. So it stop hunted me there. I had it, I guess, a little bit too close. Let's watch now what TNMG does with 4. Good breakout trade, but definitely looking for a little bit more over here. But don't want to keep adding and then getting into trouble and giving back money. Current bar low, 89. So we're 389. Here comes back into 4s. Oh, I did get stop hunted because this is going to take off, isn't it? Here we go. We're going to have to punch here at these levels. Let's go ahead and post some at 32. And then we're going to look for a high of day break on this one. So I'm going to look to defend. And there it goes, right back up. There's the profit taker, seller at 33. Monster seller at 33. Happy that I got back into this one. No, we can't shake the high of the day. Momentarily, 38s is the high of the day. We're showing 32s, but the buying is quite aggressive. Watch out, though. This one has a propensity to move 10, 15 pennies in one quick swoop. So watch out here. Good defend of 4, not without stop hunting. Back into the high of the day. 36 is showing up. Monster seller at 36 that we can't shake. Good volume coming in here midday on TNMG, but undecided as to how this one wants to trade, at least into the third of a dollar. Back into the third we go. The sellers stepping down now. If they were at 35s or 36s, now they're at 26s and 29s. So let's see if we get that sell. Do we hold 4? Well, we held 4 not too bad earlier. Without, of course, it did include some bamboozlement, right? Because while I got stop hunted at 398, does that happen again? Well, we don't have any breaches of prior bar low. So even though we're putting in a topping tail candle at the moment on TNMG, we don't have any breaches of prior bar low. So let's go ahead and see what we get here. There we go. What do you got, Obe? Because I just have to set up some orders.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just, honestly, man, I'm just staring down the book on both these names, watching the market here as well. So Softy and Amazon. Again, I don't really see too much, so I find myself kind of dabbling in this chop. So nothing too crazy. But yeah, if you guys throw up some tickers in the chat, I'm more than willing to get involved there. There we go. Softy getting stopped out there. So 61 halves that coming back up through that prior structure. So that came in. All right, where is the next trade? That's what I'm looking for. AMD saying AMD. AMD was very, very strong yesterday. And wow, I didn't even notice this yesterday, Sharif. Okay. Look at the reversion. It came all the way back down to 228s from 238s. Today we're just in a bit of a chop zone here. So nothing too crazy happening right now. Google with a swipe up. What's happening over here on Google? I see that. Look at this 15-minute swipe up on Google, man. So that was one of the weaker names earlier. And yeah, talk about maybe a little short-term capitulation there as we pull in, slam down on the prior 3-minute candle all the way into 327s and then rip right back up into 330. So that's interesting to me right here. So maybe the market's getting ready for a potential turn to the upside, perhaps. I have no idea, but going to keep my eyes on this one. What else do we have here? What's happening, really? That Google swipe was interesting. Swipes down from, what is that percentage-wise? Wow, okay, so about 0.5% and then swipes right back up. So crazy price action here in this market today. I mean, it could just be somebody just punching out, or it could be some news that hasn't really come out yet, and someone knows something, or someone has the best sources, and you know, they just participated here as well. Some of the algos, man, they know right away when some of the sources have some sort of news. What's up, Adara?
We're talking Google here. GeoOGL looks like this reacted much like TTD and to a much lesser extent MGNI on the announcement that OpenAI is going to be including or testing ads on their free tier and their ChatGPT Go. So that's what I'm seeing attributed to this Google move by a couple different sources.
You ever hear about that? It's, I don't know if this is folklore, trading folklore or not, but I'm just going to say it anyway. Did you ever hear about that hotline that some of the Wall Street, Hotline Bling? Yeah, that one too. No, but there's this like secret number that you call, it's like $1,000 a minute, or I don't know, whatever it is, bro, and they give you like inside information. It's like supposed to be for like the Wall Street guys. I don't know if it actually exists in real life. Yeah, well,
but, I have no idea. But there's all different sources of edge, I guess.
Yeah, you can call it that. Yeah. We can call it a crime as well. Either way, everything's fine. Shout out, thank you very much. BJO 9000 dropping 20 Norwegian kroners in the chat. Check RBLX double bottom 8840 on the 1-minute chart. Just 1 second, because I'm involved in this trade on TNMG and we're doing it live on this one. I keep scalping, but it keeps, you know, giving me heart palpitations because it looks like it's going to be a topping till inverse hammer candle, and then it ends up finding support. So I've given it to prior bar low. I'm scalping out on this one, and there was a lot of slippage there. Holy cow. That's not good. So we will give back a little bit on that one, but I had a couple of good trades on it, but there you go. Slippage does make a difference. Hey, funny enough, still positive on it. All right, let's get to RBLX. All right, what do we got here? RBLX, Roblox, double bottom, he says, on the 1-minute chart. Okay, let's have a look at the one. Yes, I see what you're saying. That is also the volume weighted average price, that 88.50 that you're talking about there, 88.40. I see what you're looking at the wicks, certainly. I'm looking at the closing prints, and they're all above the volume weighted average price. Let's flip to the 5 and see if we can see it a little bit better. What the hell? Why is VWAP different on the 5-minute chart than on the 1-minute chart? That makes zero sense. That should not be the case at all. In any event, I do see what you're saying, these two candles here, but I also want to point to the fact that you still haven't made any higher highs. So yes, you're absolutely right in the sense that you're finding support at that 88.40 to be on the wick basis, but the closing print's more like 88.50, 88.60. But when you're looking at the general trend for you know, the long, I don't see any higher highs personally. So not like I would trade Roblox anyway. Also, you also have these areas of support earlier from around 850. So it does jive that you're coming into this area of support. That there was basically support there from 11 o'clock till the breakout at 11:20 on RBLX. Hope that helps, and thanks BJO 9000 for the super chat. CTMX is moving. Yeah, that's going to haunt me. I mean, I was trying to nickel and dime this one with a 505 dip trade. It ended up going to 506, and now it's at 542. So yeah, that is part and parcel of trading, that kind of look there. But IBRX, I'm still holding that one. Break even on it. I see consolidation and a possible move up, but CTMX looking real good. But what a drop from 42 into 32. This one has support at the 10 EMA at the $0.25, in between a fifth to the quarter. So be on the lookout for that. Papacito dropping 6.9 shekels in the chat. Hey everyone, I made $1,500 today. Good day, y'all. That necessitates a money spin. There you go. Shout out to you, my man. Hope you print up multiple storms on your side of the screen. We couldn't be happier for you, brother. Keep bringing on the prints. Let us know, though, Papacito, what were you trading, brother? Because I know that you're often looking at these small cap gappers. Let everybody know what you were looking at so we can kind of engage back and forth. But that's fantastic. Even Baby Hands Donnie wants to know what you were doing there. Shout out to Papacito98 for a big dub. Big day. And you know what time it is?
Time is it?
It's 10 after, man.
Ooh.
We got to start the news.
Okay. All right.
So let's get right down
Get
to
it
work,
going.
baby. We're going to load up the news right now and do it live. There's some stuff to talk about. It's not the biggest news day I've seen, but one that's good enough. So let's get right down to it, baby. Yes, so on the afternoon rundown, we brought you this headline yesterday. This came out at around, I want to say 225, 230. We didn't really have all the details, but Assassino, the U.S. and Taiwan have struck a new trade deal where the reduction of tariffs will help here. So the U.S. and Taiwan finalized a major trade deal cutting tariffs on a wide range of Taiwanese exports, but there is a strong focus here in this trade deal on semiconductors as well as chip-making equipment. Washington wants to balance, closer relations with Taipei without aggravating mainland China, and President Xi, of course, ahead of the scheduled meeting between the two leaders in China in April. Broad tariffs, though, on most Chinese exports to the United States are going to drop from 20% to 15%. That is some of the best, I think that's one of the best rates in the world, aside from what Canada's getting under CUSMA. So that shows you the importance of Taiwan to the United States. TSMC, Taiwanese chip makers like TSMC that expanded U.S. production are going to benefit from either lower or zero tariffs on, we're talking about chips, wafers, manufacturing equipment that comes into the U.S. Makes sense, right? You want them to build it in the U.S., might as well incentivize them to bring in everything to the U.S. so that you can build there. That makes sense. Certain products, though, like generic pharmaceuticals, aircraft components, and unavailable natural resources, don't have more information on that. They're going to have 0% tariffs, showing you the importance of those to the United States and to President Trump and his administration. In exchange, though, for the tariff relief that they're getting, the Taiwanese companies are pledging to spend $250 billion in new, underline that, new investment money. They're going to target semis, energy, AI, but that $250 billion will include the $100 billion already committed by TSMC last year, with additional projects expected. We already know that TSM bought, I think, like several hundred acres. This was announced by Lutnick yesterday about, you know, they bought new land beside the current fab in Arizona. Taiwan is also going to guarantee another $250 billion in credit to further support the U.S.-based expansion. Washington is increasingly viewing advanced chips as a national security priority, hence why they're looking at favorable tariffs for that, with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick saying that the goal is to bring about 40% of Taiwan's chip supply chain into the U.S., warning that if, you know, these companies drag their feet, the tariffs could certainly move up, reaching over 100% here. Ob, what do you make of this latest headline?
Yeah, man. I think yesterday kind of showed us that on TSM earnings, very strong reaction to the earnings right here. We got all the way up to 350s, right? Guess what we did today, Sharif? Same kind of move. We didn't go all the way to prior day's highs, but 350 and then pushing or pulling right back into 340. So just covering into, just covering the range of yesterday. We did a full wipe there of somewhat of the range highs and then pulling right back in. So I think this one is poised to go a little higher if it's going to continue doing this kind of consolidative action at the highs. These are all-time highs on this one.
Yes, sir.
So I think that's it's a very, very healthy chart and prospects on the horizon as well.
Sounds good, Ob. Good take there. Let's go on to the next story. Micron, as well as other what's it called, RAM names like SanDisk, and I don't know if anybody's trading what's it called, Samsung out on the Kospi, but SanDisk is getting clipped today. They're down 1.5, while Micron is up 5 and change. Maybe because of this. They have officially begun construction on a massive new fabrication complex in the state of New York. It is part of a multi-decade investment plan by Micron to invest up to $100 billion, representing what would be, if it manifests, as the largest private investment in New York State history. It's going to be in Onondaga County. It's referred to as a mega fab and could eventually house up to 4 advanced fabs that focus on what Micron does, DRAM and NAND, of course. So good luck there. Wall Street analysts broadly upgraded Micron, give you some, you know, price target increases here. Barclays has them at overweight, boosted the price target from 275 to 450. Wells Fargo, 335 to 410, maintaining overweight. Citigroup from 330 to 385, maintaining the buy. And RBC Capital Markets initiating coverage for the first time with an outperform rating and a $425 price target. The analysts are all in consensus here that tight DRAM and NAND supply will extend into later this year, not just a 2025 problem. But I really want to caveat this whole thing by saying once RAM trends in the wrong direction, it tends to trend. So we saw Micron get clipped for a long time because it was a glut of inventory. That's not the case now. It doesn't mean that the current state of affairs will persist forever and ever more. There's a groundbreaking ceremony as well, which featured Micron CEO Sanjay Mehrotra alongside U.S. federal officials, underscoring the importance of this whole thing here. And there was some insider buying that I really bring your attention to. Micron board member Mark Liu, he purchased 23,200 shares, which were accounting to about $7.8 million. It was this week. So a notable insider vote of confidence here. Usually insider buying a little bit more important than insider selling. Oh.
Yeah, so SNDK here is the one that I kind of have on watch when it comes to the space here, because it's been doing the most, right? It's been doing the most, and crazy breakout out of that 230. So I do have some lines here that do interest me. That breakout of the 300, that's where I have that anchored VWAP pin to. The breakout of the 300. This was that 286 area as well at the same time. So prior high breakout. This is an hourly chart. This is a 3-hour chart, something that I like to use every now and then. But we pulled back into it, held the lows here at 320s, ultimately 312s, 310s-ish, and then started to accelerate, trending to the upside. Sure, today we have a strong sell-off, but again, market tailwind as well, strong selling, coming back into what seems like, again, there's only 2 points on this trend line, but this was what broke that 360 area. So coming back into here. So maybe it's poised for some more pullback through that 400. But as of today, Sharif, we're holding that 399.88. So 400 hold is still intact as of right now, trading at 404. So I'm continuing to watch this one. And yeah, it could continue to go into the end of the year. But hopefully they find ways to solve this issue.
Yes.
Because some of these prices are absolutely ridiculous. Right? We talk about just even like hard drives, RAM, graphics cards also have some of that DDR tech in them, and these prices are going absolutely crazy. So we'll wait and see. I'm waiting for a real capitulation on the move.
Okay.
But we'll see if it can actually happen and come in. This could keep on going and continue to be irrational. In terms of the parabolicness of some of these moves on these tickers. Micron, Micron as well, kind of similar here. 350 holding on the day today. So we did have strength coming in here and breaking out of this 350 area. That was kind of the highs, 347s if you want to call them. But let's see, did that break out in the pre-market? Yeah, it did. Broke out in the pre-market, pulled back in the 350s and held that for the push up in the 365s, but pulling back now. Of course, the market's somewhat near its lows here in terms of the Nasdaq. So I do have very close eyes on all of these names.
And I know you follow it personally too, because you're always talking about the price of RAM, like you just as.
I mean, yeah, I like building PCs and stuff. So it's just absolutely it's kind of ridiculous right now. Yeah. It doesn't remind me of the kind of action that we got during COVID, where a lot of the graphics card shortage that we had.
Everything.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I remember spending $1,000 in cash to get my current graphics card from a dude who had just bought it a couple of months ago, and he got his hands on something better, and he was willing to let it go. And I was like, $1,000 cash, not a bad deal for the market that it was in. That card is probably worth like $500 now. So I'm hoping maybe something like that happens, but that took a couple of years for that to happen, where they started making those special graphics card that couldn't mine either.
I remember those, because everyone was using them for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Guys, we have to pause for a second. We got to go to Adara, but we're going to actually have a special story when we get back.
So you guys know here, this is pretty light on volume, only about 500,000 shares, but RPID, this is Rapid Micro Biosystems pushing higher. It looks like there was a long call for this name on someone's Substack. So again, RPID, this circulating on social media, looks like an analyst or group here. It looks like Citrini has called this long. Back to you.
So, as you know, if you don't know, our Prime Minister Mark Carney, is in China. He met with President Xi yesterday at 10 p.m. And Canada is no longer charging 100% tariffs on Chinese EVs. This is a big development. Tariff reduction. Canada will remove the 100% surtax on Chinese EVs that were introduced in October 2024. There is an import quota, though. So they'll only be able to bring in 49,000 EVs per year that will be allowed into Canada under the most favored nation tariff of 6.1%. That is not even sales tax in this province, let alone the combined sales tax, province and Fed, which is 13%, mind you. Affordability targets, this is huge. By 2030, the deal mandates that 50% of these imported Chinese EVs must have an import price of less than $35,000. So we're talking about quite affordable. With the mean price, the average new car price in Canada now is 60-some-odd thousand. These are going to be priced less than $35,000, specifically targeting, of course, the affordable EV segment. The market share, the 49,000 vehicle cap though, represents only about 3% of total Canadian new vehicle market. So it's designed to minimize that direct competition, but that will change accordingly. Now there's more on the agricultural side, which was the quid pro quo. I don't really need to get into that because that's not going to be as interesting for you guys as the EV. But President Trump is not happy about this, nor is Trade Representative Jameson Greer, who are basically saying he shouldn't have done that. So we're going to have to see how that affects, of course, the trade relationship development and negotiations between our two countries. We already know that CUSMA is up for renewal this year, which covers 90% of trade, meaning that the trade negotiations we had already engaged with over the last year only cover 10%. I made that very clear to you guys yesterday. This is going to be really interesting to see how this works, whether 49,000 vehicles moves the needle at all. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see, but it's saying 3% of the total Canadian new vehicle market. That's all that 49,000 accounts for. I had no idea about that. Yeah. This is big. Well, here's the thing. This is why it matters, brother, because they can bring in the vehicles in Canada and take them to the United States tariff-free. So, or with a lower tariff. And that's what some people are doing in Mexico. Just ask the people in California and Texas that are buying the BYD pickup trucks and bringing them north of the border. My sister's telling me she's seeing those down there now. So, yeah, it's not important until it becomes important. Let's go on to the next story. Coinbase, crypto regulation bill hits a roadblock. So what happened? U.S. senators signaled they will continue pursuing a comprehensive crypto market structure bill even after the key banking committee vote was abruptly postponed. We'll get to why in a second. The bill is intended, though, or was intended, to give the crypto industry, you know, that long-sought rules of the road kind of thing to clarify which regulatory body is going to oversee them. Passage was already uncertain before the delay, reflecting months of tensions between the two parties, the Dems and the Republicans. Coinbase CEO, though, the shiny one as we call him, Mr. Brian Armstrong, was publicly opposed to the latest draft of the bill. He had multiple concerns that emerged in the last-minute rewrite. The key objections that he had, though, were the reduced role of the CFTC, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. And within hours of Armstrong's comments, the Senate Banking Committee Chair Tim Scott formally called off the hearing. And here is one of the more contentious issues as to why it was called off. So it's on whether these crypto platforms can offer interest-like rewards on stablecoins. So the banks argue, like, for example, you know, like the credit card rewards that you get. Banks are arguing, nah, we don't want that to happen. They're worried, the banks, that it could trigger massive shifts of deposits from traditional banking into crypto. I don't know why these people think that they have a right to our money or a right to hold on to the money. I'll put my own money wherever I want. I don't need you babysitting me. A Federal Reserve linked analysis suggests that there's a credit squeeze risk ranging from the hundreds of billions to as much as $1.2 trillion that could move from traditional centralized finance into some of these DeFi cryptos. The American Bankers Association, backed by over 3,000 banks, warned about the same thing, that interest-like rewards would siphon away capital for mortgages, small business loans, auto loans, and agricultural financing. Armstrong, though, Brian Armstrong, he countered. He's like, crypto firms should be allowed to compete on an equal footing, including offering loans and rewards similar to banks. Coinbase, Obi, thoughts?
Yeah, I think crypto with some of the Bitcoin action. I know a lot of people look at Coinbase and other brokers being like, okay, well, this should move around with Bitcoin. But guess what? These things have their own issues, like you're pointing out, and they're going to move relative more to that than that of crypto itself. But right. Coinbase has been selling off pretty decently over the past couple of weeks, few weeks, all the way from 444.65. So this is what I have on watch here. Bigger picture, yeah, we're in a much wider uptrend, but guess what? Look at these legs, man, so wide, all the way from 400 to 200, yeah. And then maybe we do make a higher low, or we come back down into support. This was a bit of a double bottom that kind of, you see the buyers here, you see the buyers here, you see the buyers here as well, and that's all the way down at 160s. So Yeah, a little bit of turbulence, but imagine now if crypto also falls
Well,
a
that's the
little
thing.
bit right there, right? So
I'm assuming that has a lot to do with the price action there on Coinbase is the price of Bitcoin or the price or the crypto industry in general. I don't want to say it's a direct conduit of it.
Yeah, no.
But there is certainly some correlation in the volatility between the two, right?
For sure, for sure.
All right, Adara, give us your take, please, on Coinbase.
I'd be really glad to, and I did mention some of what I'm going to talk about yesterday, but I've done a little more research that I think makes a bit more of a compelling case than I was able to make yesterday. So let's talk about this. I think one of the most interesting aspects, at least to me, is kind of the political aspect. You're like, hey, Adara, who's this man with his fist up on my screen? That's Bernie Moreno. I've talked about Bernie Moreno yesterday. Bernie Moreno is a man who, as I mentioned yesterday, was able to, I guess, benefit from the crypto lobby here. He's viewed as very pro-crypto. He is on the Senate Banking Committee that was just mentioned. And here's how significant this crypto lobbying funding was for Moreno, because this aspect I didn't actually understand, or I guess the intensity of it until just now. So crypto industry spending over $40 million to fund Bernie Moreno's campaign. Now, who he unseated is significant. He unseated Sherrod Brown, who was A, in like the House and then of course, escalating to the Senate since 1992, and B, was the chair of the Senate Banking Committee. So this man was able to get that crypto money to ascend to the Senate, and then obviously also joining the Senate Banking Committee. Now, I'm not trying to get political here. The point I'm trying to make is that there is an obvious sign here. There are some pro-crypto interests here in this committee. And furthermore, guys, guess who Bernie Moreno reportedly met with prior to his getting elected? That's right, the shiny one himself, Brian Armstrong. So there are connections to Coinbase that I don't think could be overlooked here. Long story short, the stocks, obviously, I mean, Coinbase and Robinhood did not react well yesterday to this news, but I do think there's still hope because we know that there are these pro-crypto voices right now in the Senate. Looking at you, Bernie Moreno, I want to see what happens here, but I don't think all hope is lost for the names like Coinbase right now.
Thank you very much for that. Informative as always. Shout out to Patty Ice, baby. We miss you, Patty. When are you going to come see the new studio, Patty? I've been telling you for a minute, man. It's done. It is literally done. So you got to come check it out. Shout out to Big Patty Ice, BPI, baby. Let's go on to the next story. BBC and YouTube, they're doing a partnership. And here's what's going on here. So BBC plans to produce original, tailored programming specifically for YouTube for the first time ever. This is being reported by the Financial Times, by the way. These shows will debut on YouTube and then be featured later across the BBC's, I should say, his own platform. The partnership could be announced as early as next week, sorry. And the move is primarily aimed at bringing younger audiences onto the BBC, who have kind of, shifted more onto the, being online on YouTube where we are right now. And the BBC remains ad-free domestically, but apparently there could be some ads on this one because it's going to be on YouTube, so we'll have to wait and see. There will also be a limited selection of older BBC content, which may make its way onto the YouTube. So anybody who's interested in some of these English dramas, I don't know, Coronation Street, EastEnders, from some of the names that I remember, it could find its way onto YouTube. The strategy comes, though, as the BBC navigates one of its biggest crises in decades. We know President Trump is suing them for a documentary that they put out there. And listen to this. YouTube reached 51.9 million viewers in December in England. That is actually about a million more than a million, 1.1 million more than the BBC actually got. So it gives you an idea here. There are more eyes on YouTube than there are in the BBC, despite the fact that it's free to air, and they don't even pay anything over there. Apparently, they've got a free license because they're the what's it called? They're the national broadcaster. Anyway, Google will be down about 1% on the day.
Yeah, Google that news that came in intraday kind of definitely shifted or causing a little bit of a shift in a lot of stocks there. This swipe right back up, bit of a capitulatory candle, if I do say so, and pushing even higher here on the market. But Google's kind of consolidating underneath this 330 as of right now. So sideways consolidation, pretty flat here on Google. So yeah, I don't know. I don't have much else to say other than that shake and bake was absolutely crazy.
All right, let's, sorry, just give me one sec over here to organize myself, Ob. All right, let's go on to the next story. Amazon pushes back. Oh, this is kind of, well, we'll talk about it because there's probably a lot of people that shop at Saks. Anyway, so Amazon invested $475 million into Saks Global. That's Saks on Fifth Avenue, of course. And it was part of Sachs's not David Sachs, part of Sachs's $2.7 billion acquisition of Neiman Marcus back in December of 24. The investment was tied to a strategic partnership that included Sachs at Amazon storefront, referral fees, and Amazon providing technology and logistical expertise to Sachs on Fifth Avenue. What Sachs did is they guaranteed at least $900 million in referral payments to Amazon over 8 years. However, like we reported to you guys yesterday, Sachs on Fifth Avenue, or Sachs, they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, which prompted Amazon to formally object to the proposed bankruptcy by them. Amazon arguing as follows. They said, look, Sachs burned through hundreds of millions of dollars of cash in less than a year, and they failed to meet their operational and their budget commitments under their agreement with Amazon. So Amazon said, look, they filed court documents. They said, look, our equity stake is now presumptively worthless, citing poor execution. So here's what they're doing. They're claiming Sachs's financing plan under the bankruptcy proceedings unfairly adds new debts to parts of the company that previously had none. The plan would also push Amazon further down the payment hierarchy. If you know anything about bankruptcy proceedings, we know that there's orders of priority. Who gets the money first? Most of the time, it's usually the government. They're usually number one. There's other people as well, like employees who have unpaid salaries. They're in the higher. Anyway, there's a order condescendi of priority during a bankruptcy proceeding, and this would push Amazon basically further down or near the bottom. And Amazon warned they may pursue more drastic remedies, including requesting a trustee. So anyway, the judge hasn't ruled yet on Amazon's objections, but just another, kind of part of the story to the Sachs on Fifth Avenue bankruptcy proceeding. Let's go on to the next story with Intel. Are they up on the day? Let's see where Int is doing. No, Intel is down 1 3/4, still hovering below that $50 area. But Jefferies, they raised the price target today on Intel. A little bit of a backhanded upgrade, I might say. Not even an upgrade, a price target increase from 40 to 45, maintaining, though, that hold rating, reflecting, that incremental optimism that the rating agency has, but they're tempering expectations. Jefferies characterized Intel's AI monetization outlook as relatively disappointing for the full year, and they cite its structural constraints rather than demand issues. So they're saying there's plenty of demand, it's just Intel doesn't quite have their ducks in a row, according to Jefferies. You may disagree. They're also citing tight capacity. They're saying it's limiting Intel's ability to fully monetize the GP servers, which is kind of keeping the upside to Intel capped a little bit. They're also citing PC demand weakness, and that's not new. We heard that as well with AMD, which adds pressure to the revenue mix that the company's trying to gain. Margins also are expected to stay under pressure through the balance of the year, according to the earnings preview. Again, this is just Jefferies' take, but Intel is down 2% on the day, mind you. So the note frames Intel as a show-me story, with AI progress acknowledged by Jefferies, but not yet translating, according to them, into clear earnings acceleration. Jefferies' hold stance suggests upside is already largely reflected in the current pricing. Intel, OB, any opinions?
Yeah, lots of opinions. It's attempting to get. It's lots of opinions on Intel there, Sharif.
Okay, sir.
It's attempting to break through this 50. It's finally broken out of that multi-year range. We kind of talked about that earlier on this week. Let's just take a look at the weekly chart here, right? So weekly chart, this consolidation, man, this was over, was it 365, 300, 400 days here, all the way from July of 2024. And then we broke back out of that range September of 2025. So that range break is coming in hot, man. Stepping up higher, 36s, consolidation, breaking out once more out of 44s and some change and pushing up into the 50. And what did we say, I think a couple days ago? That prior high is 50.60.
Oh.
This current high is 50.39. So even today, it's a little bit of a struggle. Market tailwind definitely does not help, right? strong seller dominance pretty much for the morning session. Right now, it seems like we are catching a bit of a curl. The names that were beaten down, catching a bit of a strong curl as well. But Intel still holding up within its trend here. 47.28s currently. But when we take a look at how it's been interacting with the $50 level, it's been a pretty decent sell every time it comes into the 50. So it came into the 50 yesterday. That was a nice little push, and then strong flush back down into 47s. It does a similar kind of action today, but in the first few minutes comes into 50.21s and then slam right here once again back into 46.90s. So yeah, I think bigger picture, this thing is on its way much higher, but turbulence along the way. People definitely want to sell a little bit at 50. People have this, you know, it's just psychological areas where, you know, people like to sell at 10, 20, 30, 40, $50, $100. So if we're coming into an area that is something like that, like the $50 level, and we're seeing some of that selling, it's like, is it anticipated? Do you expect a little bit of turbulence around around levels like this? We're seeing it happen, so I think we can expect more of it until it stops doing that. Unless and until it can reclaim or claim above 50, hold and consolidate, and really show some strength that buyers are willing to hold above 50. Then we have the green light for continuation. But we've done that on top of that 20, on top of that 25. Let's go back to the weekly. We've done that on top of this range right here, the 27s. We've done that now on top of this 43s. So stepping up pretty nicely. Yeah, man. Nice. This thing is poised for all-time highs, and those are sitting at 62.29s on Intel. Definitely held down for that year and a half or 2 years or whatever. And we were like, okay, where is Intel? They're like, okay, all of these graphics cards are being bought. The AI rush is here.
They're nowhere to be found.
But guess what? There's Intel CPUs in every one of those computers. So sure, you don't have as many graphics cards in one of those stations as you do one or two processors, right? But Intel's still there. So where has the bid been? It's here now.
All right, let's get right down to the next story. Ram. AST Space Mobile surges on U.S. defense program inclusion. Let's talk about this one. So shares jumped after the company was named as an eligible vendor for the U.S. Missile Defense Shield, called the SHIELD program, Missile Defense Agency, excuse me, called the SHIELD program. While selection does not guarantee contracts, it allows AST to bid on the potential $151 billion pool of defense-related work, which expands, of course, their total addressable market. Bulls, though, they see SHIELD eligibility as a possible stepping stone towards involvement in the Golden Dome air and missile system. We always talk about the Golden Dome, includes our country as well. But here's what AST is actually trying to do, the Space Mobile. They're trying to be the first global cellular broadband network in space and delivering voice, data, video directly to standard smartphones without the need for cell towers on top of every building and, you know, on top of towers, of course. The company has announced partnerships with telecom operators and launched its first commercial satellites, helping fuel that massive re-rating back in 24. The competitive landscape, though, does remain quite intense. They are looking at taking on the likes of SpaceX's Starlink, which I really have good things to say about now having flown on WestJet, Amazon's Project Kuiper, as well as Apple-backed Global Star. So there's a lot of hats already in this ring, Obi. ASTS, what's a look?
ASTS. Now, I did participate in this one this morning. Let's see here, where is that at? So ASTS, absolutely beautiful, all-time highs, and this thing has been pushing higher. I don't know if you remember, this thing was a sub $5 stock, sub $10 stock, just a couple years ago, I think. Let's check the weekly here. But here's the thing, they finally caught on to something. They were in a very strong, not very strong, but very consistent downtrend, right? We had a high at 25s. Now I don't know how many times this thing is split, but all-time lows coming in at $1.97.
What is that breakout date? Can you give me the date? No,
this one?
Right up.
Oh, this
What's
one
the
right
date?
here.
Is that the election?
With the volume, that is May 13th of 2024.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we hold. What day was the election?
November.
November.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
close. Yeah.
So in and around there. But you see, bid comes in, pretty aggressive, all the way up to 40. I'm sure shorts got into this and being like, okay, well, yeah, this was a $2 stock. What is this doing all the way up here? But they catch more tailwind, more squeeze. Now, I think this one is what, 30% short? Something like that? I don't remember what the short float on this one was. But we can check right now. Let me just take a quick check on ASTS right here. So ASTS, Space Mobile, what are you sitting at right now? 26.4% short float, right? That'll give you some of this action for sure. Right? A lot of participants definitely saying the same thing. This came from $2. What is it doing all the way up at 120?
Right. What a beauty, though.
Oh, absolutely beautiful. If you're impartial and you're just taking these breakouts, like that's the way to ideally do it, right? It's just boom, pushes back in, pulls into some prior levels, and breaks out of this one just yesterday, 102s, and pushing fresh highs as well. This thing probably poised for even higher if it's going to continue doing more of the same and holding that level. What's the float on this thing, right? Float is around 144 million shares. How much volume did we do today? The average volume has been about 16. Today we did 25 million. So I'm sure the float's been a little churned and rotated a few times here on the way up, and buyers willing to hold higher prices.
Right.
Maybe for that reason.
Shout out to Delion. Delion? Yeah, Delion 12. Thank you. He's like, Sharif, NGC is building the satellites for Amazon. I worked at NGC for 2 years, so I looked them up. They're on the pink sheets, I believe. Market cap 219, but here's the description. Northern Genesis Acquisition Corp, US-based blank check companies. Okay, I don't think I have the right one there. NGC, let me just check. Did I got the right one? Venture, Northern Graphite Corp. Let me know which one it is, brother. Is it on the value or on the Canadian Venture Exchange? Northern Graphite Corp. I don't think that's it. Canada-based flake graphite company focused on producing natural graphite. No, that can't be it. Tag me again, Delian, let me know. Let's go on to the next story. Novo Nordisk, Wegovy dose approval boosts competitive position. So what happened here? The UK Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency approved a higher maximum weekly dose of Wegovy at 7.2 milligrams, up from the prior 2.4. The higher dose is believed, the higher dose will be delivered, I should say, in 3 separate injections and is approved strictly for adults with obesity. Semaglutide, which is marketed as Wegovy and Ozempic, that's kind of what helped Novo come onto the scene. But we know Eli Lilly's GLP-1 has also gained significant market share. But the higher dose approval is viewed by analysts as a defensive as opposed to offensive move rather than releasing a new drug. But they did take steps to get a new product out to market, specifically the oral version of Wegovy or Ozempic, which was approved in the United States back on the 5th of January. The oral option could meaningfully expand their total addressable market, as people who do not like injections will go for this, despite the fact that the oral is not as, robust in terms of weight loss as the injectable. Berenberg analysts expect the oral pill alone to generate $1 billion in sales in the U.S. That's higher than expected. And they also anticipate, though, more pricing pressure on drugs in the United States as President Trump tries to get those ones under control. Obi, NVO, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with their inner workings, but again, being the stock that they are, again, it's more medicine or biotech kind of, right? But it's been doing its own thing relative to some of the other names. We looked at a Pfizer just yesterday. We looked at, what was the other one we looked at? Moderna. We looked at Moderna, right? Yep. Decent pullback into these lows, starting to curl back in again and again. This was not even a COVID push, right? I think this is that Wegovy push, the GLP-1 push right there. And yeah, maybe a little too far, too fast on a higher time frame, because let's just look at the monthly, right? Look at the monthly here. That's almost straight line up.
It's a Christmas tree.
Right? But you can say stairs up, elevator down. This is a great example of that as well. 144 highs, and maybe this is where we start to catch a bit of a bid. This was that consolidation before we really started to see that buying come in, and we come slam right into that same area and starting to hold 44s at that consolidation low. So yeah, I do have some eyes on this for a potential reversion, for a swing right here, but you know, I'm not too familiar with their workings. But what's interesting to me here, Sharif, is that look at that volume increase as we start to sell. Anybody and everybody who was probably along this thing, even above 100, 130s, 140s, that volume coming in real hot as that chart starts to, as those volume bars start to really expand to the upside.
And a key hold of a technical area, as you mentioned, that consolidation area, it's a key hold.
That's pretty key, yeah.
All right, guys, I want to bring your attention to a new midday mover here. Small cap gapper about to take out pre-market highs. Here it goes, TNMG. It is all sorts of strong. It is up 85%, looking at taking out that 450 area. I want to tell you the pre-market high is 449, official high a day. We just got into it, triple fours. $4.44. This one is a little bit spready at times, but TNMG making another very, very aggressive run. Watch out for the $0.50 break here. Beautiful higher low hold. I only saw this one really when it reclaimed the volume weighted average price at around 1250. Took a couple of trades on it, some positive, some negative. I think I'm a little negative on it, to be quite honest. Let me double check. No, we're positive on it. Okay, so there it goes into another high day, 449. TMG is in breakout mode now. It took out the pre-market high technically, and there it goes. It is a 468 high now on TNMG. There it goes, 468, big move. Keep your eye out on this one. It's really going over here and could be a nice midday mover for those who are small cap gapper inclined. Let's talk about Cloudflare expanding their AI monetization push with a human native deal. What am I talking about here? Well, Cloudflare acquired Human Native. Is it Humane Native? Human Native, a UK-based AI data marketplace as a part of its broader push to formalize how AI developers access and pay for high-quality training data. The deal was not disclosed. The deal value, I should say, was not disclosed, but strategic intent is quite clear. Cloudflare wants to sit in the middle of AI data transactions between the developers and the content creators. I wonder why. Management framed the acquisition as infrastructure-focused rather than content-focused, reinforcing kind of Cloudflare's role as that neutral platform provider. Sure. Monetizing, though, I mean, especially monetizing content in the era of AI. CEO Matthew Prince emphasized that content creators should retain control of their work for the work they used, whether for human audiences, for AI model training. Also, the acquisition accelerates Cloud's effort to build a system where AI developers pay creators directly for training data rather than, you know, scraping content for free. Human Native's core function, which is a company they're acquiring, is managing transparent, permission-based transactions, kind of which aligns with Cloudflare's broader positioning around trust and fairness on the internet. We can go more into this, but OB, Net, what's your look?
On
NET, Cloudflare.
So let's see, take a look at this monthly here. Okay, so yeah, holding, it did attempt to break out there a few months ago, right there in October, right? But slam, flushing right back in through that 200, breaking a bit of that long-term trend right now as well. Going to the weekly, let's see how that selling has come in. Okay, so we do have some structure here. We do have some prior high there, and maybe even in and around here, you can see 130s, but we're trading at 180, 186s. So I don't know, is this backside? The selling has been pretty decent over the past few weeks. November 10th, or sorry, 03 November was when this started, 3rd of November. And start to break down some of this trend as well. Now, just have to wait and see if this continues to break this trend. This is where supply was prior, right? I don't know if 2021 levels really come into play, but last time it got up here, strong selling all the way back to 40s. We come up, we push higher, a little bit higher, 220s to 260s.
I'm surprised it didn't
not that much higher, right?
Exactly.
So only about if we can just measure that. Right here.
What was that?
Oh my God! If we can just measure that.
All good, all good.
Good Lord. This thing is. I just want to see this breakout here. Okay, so
What the percentage up from the previous high
yeah,
is.
yeah, exactly. So if I click on that,
It's embarrassing.
there we go.
There we go.
17%. So we only got about 17% above that prior high and then flushing right back in. My question always when I see something like this is that supply was here before. Does it come in again? Do we have any sort of action that is confirming that sellers are dominant? We're currently breaking down this low right here.
It doesn't look good.
Slightly seller dominant.
All right, Adira, what more can you tell us about this Cloudflare headline?
I'm not going to talk about that headline because there's another headline here for Cloudflare that I really want to discuss, and it's less a headline and more of a thing that keeps happening. And that thing that keeps happening is X going down. You know who powers X? Cloudflare. And we know that like when we first had one of these outages most recently around, I want to say late October, early November of 2025, there was a reaction in the stock. The stock did not like it. People did not like that Cloudflare was just, you know, slacking off. And we had Canva out. We had a lot of these Cloudflare-powered websites out, including, as I mentioned, X. We had ChatGPT wasn't working. But as of late, there have been at least a couple other instances, including this morning, where Cloudflare's having issues and X is flickering in and out, in and out. So Cloudflare, like, I don't even think you shouldn't even be focusing on like doing whatever you're doing with this headline. Like what's the wording of this again? Expanding AI monetization? No, focus on getting your basic website to work so that we don't have issues with X going down every 2 seconds. I'm sorry, that's the opinion that I am of, because if you can't do like the basic aspects of your business properly, I think you have no business really expanding further. That's my opinion here for NET, though obviously that is why you cannot and should not put your opinions onto stocks, because Cloudflare does not care that there is an outage, and it's just trucking along to the upside from this low. So yeah, I mean, I just want to say that I do think it's important to note here with NET that there just keeps being these outages, and I wonder at what point, they stop being able to get away with this. I don't know, that's my take on that.
Thank you very much for that. I'm just responding to somebody.
Yeah, no worries.
There we go. All right, we're good. Let's go on to the next story, Boeing. Do you have something important to cover, or should we go on?
I'm good. Go for it.
Okay. A union. Okay, so we know that Spirit AeroSystems union reached a tentative deal with Boeing. Let's talk about what happened here. Roughly about 1,600 white-collar workers at Spirit AeroSystems has reached a tentative collective bargaining agreement with Boeing. What's going on? The agreement follows that $4.7 billion acquisition of Spirit AeroSystems by Boeing, the deal which closed on the 8th of December. That allows labor negotiations to begin finally, because regulatory clearance is now removed ever since the acquisition closed. So here's what we're talking about. The proposed contract includes a 20% wage increase for wage pools over roughly 5 years. And then those who are on a promotional salary will get 50% increases annually. Doesn't say for how long. Gotta assume it's not in perpetuity. Additional incentives include a $6,000 ratification bonus and a 10% contribution to match your 401k starting in 27. But these concessions address one of Boeing's most important recent, pressure points, which is workforce morale and stability following years of operational disruptions. The new management, headed by Kelly Ortberg, framed the proposal as their best and their final offer. And now union members have until January 30th to review and vote on the proposal, and they better hurry because their current contract expires one day after that on the 31st. So Boeing has looked pretty decent as of late. And, we've been hearing a lot more in terms of orders and demand.
Yep.
It was never really a demand issue. Can they get their ducks in a row so that they can produce these things and have them delivered? The chart doesn't look too bad.
No, man. I think we're kind of starting to get past a lot of the action that we got with the crazy sell-offs that we had in 2020, right?
Yep.
2020, 325s all the way down to 100 bounce. Talk about 100 bounce on this stock here on Boeing. Definitely took flight after that one there, and still holding consolidation, kind of cruising nicely here within this range, 275s to 125. So I like this consolidation. Again, we've been digesting a lot of different kinds of reports on this name, and I think if we can distinctly get past this 270, yeah, we can definitely enter right back into the range that we were consolidating in from 2017 to about 2020 there as well. So I like the name. I think it's poised for maybe some highs there as well. They've been doing well in terms of breaking, holding within range and then breaking past some of these prices. So in terms of price acceptance, it seems like this accumulation or consolidation, whatever you want to call it here, has been pretty interesting. And if they continue to deliver, and if they do deliver, I do think that the price action would be soon to follow. 300 might be that gap fill roughly area here from that pull down. If you really want to get specific, 330s was that day low before we started to gap down and really aggressively sell off day after day on this name. So that's what day was that right there? That was the 18th of February in 2020.
All right, we got one more quick story here. Paramount Warner Brothers Netflix deal dispute heats up. What's going on? A Delaware judge rejected PSKY, Paramount Skydance's request to fast track its lawsuit against Warner Brothers WBD, which sought for more financial disclosure. You'll recall we reported this story earlier in the week around WBD's decision to favor Netflix's takeover bid as opposed to their own. Vice Chancellor Morgan Zern, he ruled that Paramount failed to show it would suffer cognizable, irreparable harm without immediate access to the requested financial details. I don't know why I just can't move up the discovery process. What's the problem, bro? The decision removes near-term legal pressure, of course, on Warner Brothers as it advances through its preferred path. We know Paramount's taken their bid to the shareholders, and Netflix is taking it to their board. Warner Brothers, if you don't know the details of the story, rejected that $108.7 billion hostile bid takeover. It's all cash. It was earlier in the month, but we know Netflix has tendered another all-cash offer, but they haven't increased the price at which they value the company. Paramount had been arguing shareholders need full financial transparency in order to evaluate their $30 per share offer, which Paramount is putting forward, and that is set to expire, that offer by Paramount, by the way, on the 21st of January. Warner Brothers responded and said, look, disclosure will come later. It has to. It's the discovery process. I don't know why we can't move it up. When it formally solicits shareholder approval for the Netflix transaction, and no vote has been scheduled yet. I'm not going to go on with any more details because the show is almost over. Obi, WBD, SKY, NFLX. I like that NFLX one. Oh yeah, bleeding its own blood.
Yeah, man, definitely. It's really putting its logo on. I like the red there as well. And yeah, maybe you know. Let's see. I was gonna draw like an N for the Netflix here because that's what it's starting to look like, right? So it's just like, okay, no, let's not do that. But yeah, multi-week sell-off here after those all-time highs were hit. 134s, next level of support. 82s. If that cracks as well, maybe something in the 70s here, and yeah. A beautiful example of a reversion on a much higher time frame here. And people are like, oh, it's selling off because of the WBD. Yep. Guess what? It was selling off already in June of 2025. It broke trend with distinction in and around, when was this candle right here, buddy? On October 20th, off of earnings. Yeah. Right? And then WBD news, whatever. Again, the thing about price action is that the follow-through sometimes just needs a little bit of volume injection. And events and news and other catalysts can give us that volume injection. Of course. Right? If you're a large player, you're looking for counterparties. You're looking for volume that you can kind of maybe offload or unload or get into with, and it's just like, okay, cool.
Still holding that higher